a boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
It's 205 days since England finally lifted the World Cup trophy, time in which we've had an Ashes, a general election, Brexit, Megxit, and New Zealand have found that super over defeat was not a one-off. It's all been happening. Welcome back to Guerrilla Cricket. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. We bid you hello. We bid you hello. Can we bid you hello? Yes, we do. We bid you hello. And we have news from Cape Town, a glorious Cape Town with blue sky and sun, that South Africa have won the toss and put England into bat. I'm Gorilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson, and alongside me, he's been running up that hill somewhat like Kate Bush. It's Rog Pineapple.
Hello Hendo, hello cricket.
Hello cricket, and it is a wonderful thing to behold. Also a wonderful thing to behold on my right is none other than Superman himself. He's been put back together so many times. He's like Lee Majors, a little bit like Lee Majors, maybe more like Farrah Fawcett Majors. Who knows? It's Jason G. Hiscox.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, and this is delightful, isn't it? It's delightful to be back in Cape Town and to see the green and gold going out there. They're green and gold. They are green and gold, aren't they? I mean, they're green and yellow, I suppose.
They're very green.
They're very, very green, the South Africans. And green, I suppose, in one sense, because de Kock is captaining his first match. They have a new captain, and they have a team that you may not be incredibly familiar with if you don't follow South Africa one-day cricket very closely indeed. I shall bring you the teams. The teams are: South Africa are captained by Quinton de Kock, who's at the top of the order, with Reza Hendricks, Themba Bavuma, Rassie van der Dusen, JJ Smuts, David Miller, Andile Felequeo, Buren Hendricks, Lungi Ngidi, Luthu Simpambla, and Tabrez Shamsi. the left arm wrist spinner, who played a couple of games for Northants, didn't he? I seem to remember him taking part in the Blast or something like that. England, well, you'd expect them to line up with Jason Roy and Johnny Bairstow at the top of the order. There's Joe Root. He just loves cricket, Joe Root. You try to send him home, but he's, no, I want to play. Owen Morgan, of course, captain. Joe Denley, that's the curious one, isn't it? Tom Banton making his debut, coming in, and we think at 6. Sam Curran and Tom Curran. Chris Wokes, Chris Jordan is back, and Matt Parkinson is making his one-day international debut. So that's it. We're almost ready to go. It looks like it's going to be one of these to face up.
Johnny Best is smarter than the average besto. Johnny Best has been this good since daycare, so all put on your wigs and let the crimson hand flow. I want the Pope to give him his own large prayer. Oh, he can hit the 6s, although it's so dark. He'd even run a 10 at Bradford Park Avenue. No other Yorkshireman can compare. I tell you, Johnny Best is smarter than the average besto.
Will be bowled to by...
Remember this man?
The Saffers are reeling and can't get a break. Their pacemen are injured, they hurt and they ache. Dale Steyn hurt his shoulder, so they're short a bowler. Hendricks and Hendricks. Hendricks is in.
Well, you say Hendricks and Hendricks. There are 2 Hendricks in this game, or Hendrickses, if you want to be exact. 2 slips. A man at cover, extra, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket. That's the umpire at square leg, isn't it? A man down at long leg, one would presume. Left arm over the wicket, Buren Hendricks. Coming into Jason Roy, since he almost threw down the stumps to win the World Cup. We've seen nearly anything of him. He turns the first ball to mid-wicket. And there is no run. Good morning, Rog. Anyone joined us on the Twitter sphere this early?
Yes, some of our dear friends.
Dear
Leah,
friends.
that bundle of joy, Leah says, good morning, Gorilla Cricket. Telling us that De Kock and Miller account for 65.39% of ODI runs in the South African 11.
Wow.
Talk about putting all your eggs in one basket.
That's a great
Or 2
stat.
baskets.
That is a great stat. Yes, there's 1 or 2 people who've got to show their worth. Quick ball from Hendricks, which seems to have Roy hurrying a little bit in defence. And goes back to the bowler, and there is no run.
Would you get up Jason Roy now as well?
Duckworth Lewis loves you. The clouds part for you. Nothing stands in your way when you're a Roy.
Oh, now, isn't it the first time we've had you back, Rog, since you did your cricket-themed pub crawl? We'll have to have a chat about that. Hendricks in, back of a length. Oh, comes rather slowly off the surface there. Slower, I think, than Roy suspected. He almost shaped to pull and then decided to defend. He might have thought actually going through the shot would have been beneficial, because it was really spongy out of the surface there.
Yeah, Hendricks is banging it quite hard into the deck, and it's not really coming off and carrying through.
No, I saw a little comment from Quinton de Kock saying he thought the pitch was going to be quite slow, and I think because of the timing we're not going to get a huge amount of this game under the lights. Anyway, here comes Hendricks again. Bowls to Roy. Is finding a good length at the moment, and Roy can only defend. Back to the bowler, and there is no run. Who else has joined us apart from the bundle of joy that is Leah?
Dear Messy Jazz says, morning all. What the fuck is Megxit? Well, Megxit, as in Meghan's exit from the royal family, which you could see was affecting the England players during that national anthem. They were really, especially Owen Morgan's, but you could tell that the royal family rocked.
Yeah.
And you just hope that it doesn't affect the 3 Lions today.
Well, I don't know, may only be 2 Lions now. Flicked away up towards mid-on. They're going to get the first run. Going to have to hurry a little bit, because the fielder at mid-wicket came across to actually do the work, and then thumps the ground for not having run Roy out. But I don't think there was really much opportunity there. England underway, 1 for no wicket.
Yes, they're flooding in. TV umpire at UL3 says, good morning, Gorillas. Am I the only one disappointed not to see Moeen playing? No, I too share that disappointment. But I'm sure we'll have time to touch on Moeen's involvement.
Moeen's been a bit more upfront about why he wanted some time out, hasn't he, of late? said he was really down on confidence after that first test against Australia. Here comes Hendricks to complete the over, bowling the first ball to Johnny Bairstow across the right-hander. Well wide of the off stump. He has a look at it, lets it go through, and that is the end of the first over. 1 for none.
And Mogg says, fucking super overs, a blight on the game. I think certainly some Kiwis might agree.
It's not just Kiwis who've had super overs. The England women had won a match in the super over this week as well against Australia.
Yeah, I think they're okay.
By-
the game,
by-
it's just, if you keep
By
losing
2 balls.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind them. I just don't really see the point of them in sort of these kind of series.
Yeah, it's fine to have a draw.
Just have a draw. Just accept it's a tie, it's a draw, whatever you want to call it. I don't mind.
Yes, in a match where there has to be a result, I see them as being appropriate. But
Yes, that makes sense.
no, if the series is either won or lost, then there's not a lot of point in it.
Not really. Just adds a bit of fun to the end of the day, I suppose. Keeps the cricket going longer. Lungi Ngidi is back, right arm fast, 23 years old, coming in from the Kelvin Road end. How South Africa may have missed him during that Test series, of course, injured most of the time. Here he comes in to bowl to Roy, also with 2 slips, and Roy's onto the back foot, punching. Didn't really time it particularly well, but he's got it past extra cover. It's been chased down by...
That was big JJ Smuts.
That was
His first
JJ
touch.
Smuts.
Yeah,
Well
yeah.
done, JJ. And JJ, are you confusing me by having the wrong number on your back? I think you may be. Anyway, they've got 2 runs there. And so Roy moves on to 3. And the score is indeed 3 for Nout.
And this is his jingle.
Domination is the name of the game. In cricket or life, they're both just the same. So go get the guy.
Oh, a bit human league-ish, isn't it? Pulled by Roy. And he was going to be a bit unlucky there because he hit it straight to mid-wicket, but it's only half stopped. Was that Philiqueo there trying to do the work? Yes, it was. He's a mighty man, isn't he? But they've presumably got through 4. Was it just the 1, or did they get a second there?
Just the 1, I think.
Yeah, well, now, Mother Cricket, explain that to our listeners. What did he not
He didn't
utilise then?
the long barrier.
He didn't utilise the long barrier.
I don't suppose you expect to use it at mid-wicket, though. He's a big guy. He had to get down quickly. It was hit quite hard at him. What I did like is how quickly he recovered for his. He set the tone. He sprinted after it. He didn't need to because someone else was backing up for him, but he went to replace his error, and he did keep them to 1 where.
Well, as long as Mother Cricket is happy and satisfied, I mean,
She's pretty forgiving.
Yeah, she is. She's a lovely lady. In comes Ngidi, bowling to Bairstow, and Bairstow flicks this off his middle and leg stumps. Just a turn of the wrists, down to long leg it goes, and he gets his first run. England move to 5 without loss.
Now here's an exciting tweet from Imagine at Sally R56. He says, I'm not sure how much it will boost your audience, but Guerrilla Cricket got a mention on Oz Open Radio during the men's final on Sunday.
What?
Look at Hendo, the tennis man's thrill
What?
and joy to discover that.
Explain more. Tell us more.
A listener wrote in suggesting their coverage was comparable with yours.
Wow.
Thank you for that, Sally.
That's fantastic to know. Outside the off stump, Roy aims a drive at a good length ball and mistimes it, drags it a little bit up to mid-on, and there is no run. Oz Radio, is that ABC?
To know, perhaps it might have been an in-house thing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could tell us a bit more about that, Sally, if you were listening to
Or
it.
even better, can you source us the actual quote?
Yeah, and then we'll
Yeah.
play it on a loop.
If it was Fru Macmillan, I've got great
Yeah, as long as it
admiration
wasn't,
for
normally it would be Bob Hewitt.
Oh,
No,
don't
we
know.
shouldn't go there.
Okay.
No. In comes Ngidi again, bowls, and this time Roy is reaching a little bit, dabbing it away to backward point. There is no run.
This pitch does look
It
very,
looks-
very dead, doesn't it?
Dear oh dear, this is not a one-day international pitch. This will kill one-day international cricket if the ECB don't get there first. Anyway, 1 ball remaining in Ngidi's. Ngidi, man, there aren't that many people who on Cricinfo or various sources of cricket information get described as RF, as in right arm fast. But then to find he's got a pitch like this must be very disappointing. Driven a little bit in the air for a moment by Roy. Should get a single to wide mid-off. In fact, walks it. And that is the end of the second over. England 6 without loss.
A couple of wordsmiths, Mayor Katie and Mog, both suggest that Hendrixes should be Hendrices.
Hendrices.
I like that, yeah.
Yep,
Okay,
from the
thank you.
Latin.
Oh, right, okay. Ooh.
I was thinking if I get to
So
commentate
that would
on
be Hiscoxes as well.
Scoxies.
if I get to commentate on the Hendrices, it could be a case of double gin and pineapple.
Yay!
Martin Holmes says, morning guys, let's hope for an England win. Tell all the listeners to get their wallets out and become Patreons. Doesn't come free, you know. Yes, well, we will.
Oh, yes, should do that. We don't do that enough, do we?
No, thanks Martin.
It's good to be reminded occasionally.
Leah, that bundle of joy says, as an India fan, I can't find that much fault with super overs at the moment.
No, except India keep winning it. I'd like to see New Zealand winning the occasional game. This is driven by Roy, a little bit on the up. Or, I mean, it's sped at possibly catchable height past Buren Hendricks, but it's gone to the boundary for one of these.
So not a C and B chance. I thought he
Yes, I think
didn't really.
Didn't really react very
No,
much.
but it wasn't
It's horribly
beyond the
flat.
realms of a half a shot.
Oh, it
Oh, he
was
did.
definitely, and it was a horrible flat-footed shot from Roy. Look at him here as we see the replays. Feet have gone absolutely nowhere. He's thrown the hands at it, and it's a little bit lucky there. In comes Hendricks again, full of ball, and again this is played a little bit aerially, but to the offside of the pitch this time, and it's much better timed by Roy, and he's picked up 4 more. England just perhaps struggling to get the pace of the pitch. They want to play these attacking shots at the top of the order, just finding the ball sticking perhaps, which is why it's going in the air a little bit.
Is this perhaps a sort of cunning negation tactic by South Africa to, null the attacking instincts?
Oh, it may be. Oh, yes, a good point. And, well, he makes room outside leg stump here and then crashes this cross-batted through extra cover. It's the 3rd boundary in a row for Jason Roy.
That went like a tracer bullet.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, isn't it, actually? I think. He's gone so far outside leg stump. In the end, he's almost struggling to reach it. But he does reach it. That's why I had to use the cross-bat in the end. And away it flies for 4 more.
A couple of quality shots those last 2. It's like Jason Roy has remembered he's not playing Test match cricket anymore, so he can use his feet.
Oh yes, Test match cricket. We remember that. Jason Roy will remember it, I'm sure, for the rest of his life because he won't play any more of it. Flicked away to deep backward square. Philakwe, I think it is, out there doing the fielding, and there is a single. So just breaking the shackles of boundaries at the moment. 19 for no wicket.
Chris the Choir is with us. Good morning. Good morning to you, Chris. Thought I was late, but tuned in to hear first ball.
Oh, good.
Thought Hendo had gone bold in sympathy, but see, it must be cold at GC Towers in February.
Yeah, it's very, 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 very chilly in here until the bear gets in and puts the oven on, eats loads of toast. In comes Hendricks, bowls to Bairstow, and Bairstow gets in on the actual, tries to anyway. Plays a very pleasant drive, but straight up to mid-off, and there is no run.
And our friends down in SA say, great intro from you, Hendo. We are stuck in traffic, but taking our feed until we can get to our studio. Oh, so hello
Oh my goodness.
to you African listeners.
Oh dear.
That was 5 minutes ago, so maybe they're on there.
Maybe.
now.
Oh, yes, of course. You do have a choice. We do like you to have a choice. You can have England-centric from our end, or you can have South African-centric from their end, although, of course, we are all totally impartial. Hendricks then to come in and complete his 2nd over. Bairstow waits. He's just got a single. Only the one slip now, and he drives on the up. He's going to get a run here. No, he's not. They decide against it that he hit it too fast and too hard up to mid-off. So that is the end of the 3rd over. England are 19 for no wickets.
Mog says, that's Depeche Mode, Hendo, that jingle.
It's
you
Master
like.
and Servant.
They all sound the same.
Well, it's about the only non-Human League-based jingle that Mog has done for several years. Jules, at them are Jules, is still listening from Myanmar. But flying back to Old Blighty tonight. So I only have 3 hours before the flight and then no coverage. Let's hope the first hours are exciting. Thanks for all the commentary over the last 2 months. It's our pleasure, Jules.
Hang
You
on.
didn't know we were broadcasting to Myanmar, did you?
We broadcast everywhere.
Well, I know, but there's Jules. He's an actor, performer, stage manager, and Carvin-based irritant to sensitive skin.
Isn't Myanmar the place that didn't have any internet or TV for a long, long time?
Is it?
It was only recently introduced.
Well, yes. There've been a lot of problems in Myanmar, haven't there? one way or another. And Ngidi will start his second over. We're expecting a sellout at Cape Town. People are just moseying their way in. And in comes the incredibly well-built Ngidi. Bowls. Oh, and he has a little flirt outside the off-stump without any foot movement at all. Horrible shot from Roy. But he gets no edge, unfortunately, for South Africa.
Yeah, you're not in whites, Roy. You don't have to be nibbling around like a...
Yeah.
And you've got off 0, so that means you're on for a ton, based on previous performances on this tour and the warm-ups.
I'm wondering about Denley in this team. I was a bit of a I wouldn't say I was a Denley fan, but I've appreciated what he's done at Test level for England, within his limitations.
But he's a different player in one-day cricket.
He's a different player in one-day cricket, but you wouldn't have him in your first-choice team, would you? In comes Ngidi, bowls, flicked away off middle stump. Man up inside the circle is going to have to chase after that, won't get anywhere near it. Buren Hendricks, it's run away for 4.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
Roy just opting for placement rather than awesome power on this occasion, and very nicely placed indeed.
I think Roy is such a good player that he's worked out the pace of this pitch already, and his timing has been so good when he hasn't. There's a couple of indeterminate shots, but again, it was the first ball of the over. You remember the last over, he put it behind him and immediately found the middle of his bat, and he seems to have the measure of it so far.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think what he does as he waits for Ngidi and forces off the back foot aerially slightly to backward point, bounces before it gets to Temba Bavuma. He seems to be one of those people who literally has a look at it for 3 balls and then has summed it up, I think, and worked it out for himself. He has a look at 3. He doesn't go after it for the first ball, generally speaking. Probably does in T20s. But in ODIs, he has 3 balls to look at it, and then he goes crazy. 23 for no wicket.
Well, maybe ever since he went after the first ball of this era, didn't he? He was caught at backward point.
Yes.
The very first one there of the Morgan.
Era. This is full, and he drives. This one skews a little bit off an thick outside edge. He's going to get runs though. Round from the third man comes Philaqueo, and they pick up 2 more. Or in fact, that may be the debutant actually, who is Sipamla. Who I've not seen before, Luthu Sipamla, who is another quick bowler. JJ Smuts, of course, an all-rounder. He can bowl a little bit of left-arm spin.
Yes.
He's got a pretty good record.
Flat darts.
Flat darts. Nothing wrong with flat darts. Ngidi again, running in to bowl to... Oh, has he been caught? No, he hasn't. It's Philaqueo. That's where Philaqueo is at mid-wicket. But that might well have been a chance. He flicked it away nonchalantly, timed it beautifully. And the next thing we saw was Philaqueo on the floor and the ball sort of dribbling away from him. I think we need to see that from side on to see whether that was actually a chance. Let's see. Oh, yes, it was a low chance. He was diving away to his left. It wasn't straightforward. But, as they often say, at this level, he should probably be pulling that off.
The pimps in the crib, ma. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
So, maybe a let off there for Roy. He's on 24. Waits for Ngidi again, and now he decided to leave one outside the off stump. Maybe just needs to settle himself down again a little bit. 4 overs bowled. England 25 for no wickets.
Evil Scooters, hello gents. Yes, I too can vouch for Guerrilla Cricket getting a favourable mention on Oz Open Radio.
Wow. What is Oz Open Radio? Can someone tell me what Oz Open Radio is? It doesn't actually mean anything to me. I presumed you meant it was on free-to-air.
It sounds like one of those shonky operations at the ICC where they have anyone on those. It was one of those in-house things.
Oh,
That the ICC tried to pull off during the World Cup.
Is it like Radio Wimbledon or something like that?
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Anyway, so yes, 25 for no wicket from 4 overs. Should remind you, of course, the GPL is open. The GPL is open for 15 overs of the first innings, in which you have to work out. Oh, we got a man off Hayden, defended by Bairstow to extra cover, and there is no run. The GPL is open, I'm told, until 12:15 p.m. GMT. So if you're in South Africa, that'll be what, 2:15. I'm not going to do it for every city in the world, or every country in the world. You'll have to work it out for yourselves. The pot has £33 in it. And what you have to do is go to our website, guerrillacricket.com/competition, Register if you haven't already done so. I'll tell you more after this delivery from Hendricks, who is in to Bairstow. Bairstow's forward in defence to a good length ball and pushes to extra, and there is no run. If you haven't registered, you register. When you've done that, you can have as many guesses as you want as to how many runs in total will be scored in the day. Each time you guess, you pay us £1, and if you get on the nose at the end of the day, you win everything that's in the pot. So 33 quid to start with. If 1,000 of you were to enter now, right now, that would put £533 in the pot. Onto the front foot comes Bairstow, defends to extra cover. Good length from Hendricks in this over so far, and there is no run.
Bairstow's being incredibly restrained.
He is, isn't he? Just 1 off
he's
7.
Outscored 24-1 at the moment.
Yes, he is, yes.
Which normally means he's going to explode at the next available opportunity.
Which could be the next ball, I think. We shall see. Maybe he thinks, I need some runs to get back into the test side, amongst other things. In comes Hendricks, bowls, and he tries to pull that and toe ends it back to the bowler. He was so early on that. He was well through the shot, and toe ended. Rather fortunately, didn't go in the air, but he gets away with that. 25 for no wicket.
Hopefully a fielder is offering some chalk. That's always one of my favourite things in club cricket. If someone toe ends, offer them the chalk for the end of their cue.
I do. I didn't generally take chalk onto the field with me, I have to say. Maybe you do, or you just do the...
No, it's just the...
the thingy, yeah. In he comes again, bowls, and he cuts this one, waited for it well. Chopped it, really, down to third man. That's Shamsi doing the fielding, and they get back 4-2. England 27 for no wicket. The GPL is open, of course. Put down £1, win 33. Put down £1,000, win 500. Does that work? No. My maths is terrible. 1 ball to go in this over. Still seeing the cranes at Cape Town, which rather sort of spoils the outlook a little bit at one of the most scenic grounds in the world. So I'm told.
Little friends for the floodlights, though.
Yes, that's true. They got a little chat, can't they?
And it'd be interesting to see what actually build up there in the development area.
Oh, it will be. Bairstow's looking to tuck this into the onside, looking for a single, but he hits it too straight to Feliquer at mid-wicket, and that's the end of the over. Just 2 from it, much better from Hendricks. England, after 5, are 27 for no wickets.
Pirate Badshah, vote socialist left. Says, morning, dudes.
Morning.
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 How do you address a pirate?
War.
Morning. Yeah.
Morning. Something like that. Did they all pirates from the West Country? You would know, Jason, because hailing from that neck of the woods.
Have you got not exclusively.
What you mean? You're not exclusively from that area, or
no,
the pirates are
not all pirates are from the.
Are they not?
Don't forget the Sudanese. Big, big pirate scene.
That's relatively new, though, isn't it?
Well, and the West Indians, for that matter.
Yeah, there's a lot of puritanical things going on. Ngidi in, bowls to Roy. And Roy lets this come onto the bat and then just glides it down to third man. Very subtle from the Surrey opener. He takes a single, goes to 25. England 28 for no wicket.
David Wood is with it. A sellout at Cape Town. Have they introduced the 100 too?
Ooh. Well, did you see this story about all the members are snapping up the 100 tickets? Give over. They've given them at half price or stuck on their membership. I mean, talk about spin.
Dave, if you'd appreciate if you used hashtag the 100 with a capital H, please. Give it the respect.
Yeah, absolutely. I will not have the 100 dissed on this programme. Utter rubbish. 28 for no wicket. There seems to be a problem with the sight screen. I think ultimately Bairstow is happy with it. Giddy is a big man, is a big unit. Massively long legs, big arse, and big shoulders. In he comes, bowls to Bairstow. Bairstow flicks this away. Quite successfully. I thought for a moment it was going to run all the way for 4, but well picked up by Bjorn Hendricks on the run and got his body well into the right position to throw it back. But we know Bairstow is extremely quick between the wickets. He's back for a second, and England move to 30 for no wickets.
Fraser Middleton says someone must have accidentally sworn on the Aussie one, and then Sally gives us some information on it. It's definitely a compliment. All the Grand Slams have their own radio broadcasts, which are non-geo blocked.
Ah, right. Well, I'm not sure about Radio Wimbledon. If anyone wants to give me a job on Radio Wimbledon, I'll be very happy. Flicked away between mid-wicket and mid-on. Lovely shot from Bairstow, and he picks up, I think, his first boundary.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
Good pace from Ngidi, but unfortunately it just meant it came onto the bat a little bit more quickly, 89 miles an hour. And that is one of Johnny Bairstow's favourite shots, that little flick away, square or straight on the onside. Yes, so, yeah, if anyone knows any jobs going at Radio Wimbledon, I'm quite happy to give a bit of cricket time to do
We've
those
never
two
done.
wickets.
I remember we sat and watched Andy Murray in the old studio, didn't we? I don't think we broadcast. but we
Oh
all
no!
sat and we
Well,
had a-
commentating live on tennis is ferociously difficult. Bairstow tries to pull, and it hits him in the hip. Again, he was through the shot a little bit early, I suppose, and the ball runs out into the offside. Yeah, no, if you try to get every shot in, it's incredibly difficult.
yeah.
I think nowadays a lot of commentary is making it more discussive in a way, rather than trying to fit every shot in, because by the time you said it, it's gone, and they're 2 shots further ahead of you in the rally.
You've got, what, a second before the next shot's coming back?
Well, it's not even that, is it? Really? Sometimes. Now Ben Stokes is going for a bat somewhere.
He's going to the net, which is behind the other end.
And Ngidi in bowls to Bairstow. Bairstow wants a quick single as he prods this out into the offside. He won't get it, as the man from extra cover is in swiftly. Now, I was just chatting with Knackle before we came on air, and knowing that Butler and Stokes are not taking part in these ODIs, and I sort of pondered on whether they would have sped home for a week in Blighty, but it looks like they've stayed out there with the team. Well, certainly Stokes has, and he's just going to go and loosen himself up with playing a few big hits in the nets. Can you imagine?
They
what
are
sort of
great,
shots
they
he
are
plays in
great
the
nets, I'll have to say.
Yeah, but imagine him in those nets, and Ngidi bowls driven on the up by Bairstow up to mid-off rather, and there is no run. If you think of some of the crazy shots and amazing hits that he does in match situations, Stokes, can you imagine how crazy he goes in the nets? It'd be frightening, terrifying.
Well, the surface at least was with the grass nets, and there were about 6 of them, and they looked better than any club pitch I've ever seen.
Oh God, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, a lot of club pitches are not particularly good these days. 34 for no wicket from 6 overs. Roy has 25 of those. Bairstow has 9. If you can help Guerrilla Cricket out, please do so, because we are always short of cash. If you can see yourselves donating in the long term, that would be wonderful. Go to patreon.com/Guerrilla Cricket, patreon.com/Guerrilla Cricket. And if you give us $10 or more a month, you end up on our Facebook page, and you rotate, your name rotates around with all these other generous people. This is defended by Roy, back to Buren Hendricks, starting his 4th over, goes round there for eternity, basically. I guess when the end days come, that will still be going, won't it? When I don't know, when the world has been incinerated and some aliens come down looking for signs of life, they will find the Facebook page of Guerrilla Cricket. I think, who the hell were these crazy people?
And the podcasts as well.
Oh, they'll find the podcast. Yes, they'll find the podcast. Yes,
Should still be there.
They'll be saying, what is this Guerrilla shear? They'll be saying, what is this shear? What do they mean by this? In comes Hendricks, bowls. Oh, driven up and over. Didn't really get it as he would have liked, but it's got enough on it. It's going to run away to the mid-off, long-off boundary for 4 more for Roy.
It's Nissan She. It's
Nissan She. 38 for no wicket. Yes, please do support us if you can, because there are costs inherent in running this operation. And I think we bought a new mic the other day. I think the bear came in and I bought a new mic. He didn't put it to the committee though.
Was it that Middles one that was getting a bit smelly?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know whether he's actually attached it yet. I don't think he has. Short. Oh, lobbed up into the air. Oh, and would you believe it? Somehow the mid-wicket has come in so close that it's actually gone over him. Oh, my word. That was extraordinary. I was just expecting that Van der Dussen, who it is, would just pouch that comfortably as he tried to turn it on the onside. He got a leading edge. Oh, no, my word. Maybe just went a bit straight for him. He leapt up, but couldn't get a hand to it. And that's a really Rather fortunate let-off for Jason Roy there.
Just as well as he timed that leading edge.
Yes, indeed, he did that. He just teasing him, wasn't he? He was just teasing him. Yes, he's got to the other end and realised, ooh, that was a little bit close, and shakes his head slightly. And Van der Dussen has injured himself. He's twisted and leapt so vigorously that he's now done a calf by the looks of it. He's limping up the ramp onto the back foot goes Bairstow. Comes down on this, chops it up to mid-off, and there is no run. 39 for no wicket.
Linux Lies tells us earlier today the Golden Eagles Deutschland, which is the Germany women's team, beat Oman's women by 115 runs in a T20I. Stefanie Frohmeier, the only wicket to fall for Germany.
Well, when the Germans take something seriously, you've got to watch out, haven't you, really?
You've got a feel for Frohmeier, though.
Yeah, you really do. Buren will continue. None for 21 into his fourth over. Almost up to his fourth over. Bairstow was trying to launch that over mid-wicket, made no contact, hit on the pad. Just briefly, we've lost... Are we going to... I'm worried now. Roger's been phoned, and that means he may be needed for an emergency opera. We may be about to lose Rog to an emergency opera. Which opera would you like it to be in an emergency? Let us know at Gorilla Cricket. 39 for no wicket. Roy has 30 of those. Bairstow has 9.
It'd have to be some sort of thud and blunder, a bit of Wagner perhaps.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's doing a bit of Carmen at the moment, as I understand. Now, this is launched well by Bairstow. Well, I say that, it plops down a few yards short of the boundary. JJ Smuts has chased after it. And at the end of all that, Bairstow's got back for 2 and inspects the lower portion of his bat as if
he's already signalling to the changing rooms as he's running his second that can I have another bat, please? I think this one's not good at the bottom.
No, well, the way he played that, it looked like it was going to go flying out of the stadium, but didn't quite have the legs on it, we thought. Roger, you going to leave us for an emergency opera?
I am, actually.
Oh, no, he's going to leave us for an emergency opera!
Verdi.
Oh, Verdi. Bloody Verdi. Bloody Verdi. What time is your emergency
2
opera?
o'clock rehearsal.
So how long have you got?
Another little while. Don't worry, I can stay till 1.
The best laid plans of your rotor have now been thrown up in the air.
But we're stacked with talent in the green room there. It's an absolute
But they're not stacked
jamboree of...
Where are you going to be playing Verdi?
The London's Coliseum with English National Opera.
I'm going to have words with them. They keep nicking our talent.
Verdi waits for no man. Well, Joe Green. You know, we were talking about the green of South Africa.
Verdi,
you jinxed it, yeah.
Yes, true. 7 overs bowled, 41 for no wicket. What other sort of strange emergencies could we have here on Gorilla Cricket that means that various members of our talent have to leave? We're going to get some spin after 7 overs within the power play still. It's going to be JJ Smuts.
All gorillas love him. We like anything smutty. So John, he is gone. Even if he does go nutty.
Forever now on to be known as JJ Smutty. Driven up towards mid-off, shoveled really by Roy. And JJ Smuts has got a best in one day, not one day international cricket because of course this is his debut, but in list A of 4 for 4. That's a little bit worrying. In he comes again, round the wicket, gives that air, and again Roy makes room for himself and slashes rather cross-battedly up towards mid-off. This may be a very good move actually because a lack of pace, a man bowling darts, it could be interesting. He's in again onto leg stump, whipped through mid-wicket, and that will send the bear absolutely apoplectic because there is no mid-wicket to a left arm spinner. If there's one thing that riles the bear more than nicking his beer, it is no mid-wicket.
I was just
no
going to
orthodox mid-wicket. What does Mother Cricket say about that?
Well, I was just going to say, Mother Cricket likes the fact I think we've got a new contender for which international cricketer now resembles the bear the most.
Oh, you mean Smuts?
Yeah, as in a roly-poly, slow left armer.
Isn't he? Yes, he could be the bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll look forward to the bear on Smuts.
That'll be fun when he gets a chance. Now that's very flat indeed, and onto the back foot goes Bairstow. Forces, but there's absolutely no pace on the ball, no pace off the pitch. and it runs rather gently to extra cover.
Samit Patel's hopes for a recall. It's taken a massive boost.
Samit Patel, I mean, just purely for jingle purposes. Now this is given a bit of air, and it's swept to the man on the 45, where it is fielded, and there is no run. 42 for no wicket, 1 ball remaining in the 8th over, the first in one-day international cricket by JJ Smutty, and he is coming just tidy enough, looks very tidy, comes past the umpire, and Bairstow just feints a little bit, not literally, feints to go out towards square leg, and then stays where he's put, flicks it away. There is no run. Good first over from JJ Smuts. 42 for no wicket.
I got a bit of catching up to do. Strange Carrots come.
Hello.
Says morning all. Another busy day in the office. Busy listening to the cricket, that is. And no doubt comparing carrots.
Oh yes.
Oh, yes.
Got any of the purple ones with you today?
Leah Bundle of Joy. Perstow auditioning for the test team again, I think. What a patient. That was when he had 1 off 8. That was a good point that Hendo echoed. Mere Kitty, it's a little known fact that Sudanese parrots adopt a West Country accent when they pass their parroting entrance exam.
Oh, that's right.
That's how they they've got so far in their pirate.
Don't they have to do it like
piracy?
a baccalaureate in piracy? I think you probably have to do that, don't you? To ensure baccalaureate. Very good. We're going to go changing bowling, and we're going to see him for the first time this winter. Oh, I do love this man. Andili Feluqueo, although of course I'm probably saying it wrong. Knackle will be in later to give you the correct pronunciation, but that's the one I prefer, and this is his jingle. Yeah, I like that. I like that jingle.
Messi says, as I recall, Brixham in Devon has a whole week in summer where everyone was required to dress and talk like a parrot or face the prospect of walking the plank.
Yep, in the middle of September.
Yeah. I was a pirate once in an opera.
Wow, tell us more in a minute. Feluqueo in, down the wicket comes Roy, chops this good length delivery, which is returned to Quinton de Kock in not particularly the way that he would have wanted. He had to leap for that one.
Yeah, I got to dress up and I had to play my bass.
As a pirate?
Yes, in Captain Blood's Revenge. It was a children's opera written by Lynn Plowman, who's fantastic, does these things. It was the thing with Glyndebourne where they do this fantastic education stuff.
Oh, brilliant.
Well, Captain Blood as the man who tried to steal the jewels from Tower of London.
No, different Captain Blood.
Different pirate. Looked like he was taking a little bit of pace off that Feluqueo. It's defended by Roy, square of the wicket. There is no run. Indeed, it was just 77 miles an hour. He's a lot quicker than that in general terms.
Yeah, it was an original story. I can't remember the name of the guy who wrote it, but he was a famous kind of children's, really fun guy, a bit of a pirate himself. He showed up he had an earring and everything, and these children came to these operas, and we were sort of in and out of the, having to do a bit of play acting as pirates, and he would tell them stories as all part of the production. It was really, really cool thing.
In comes Feluqueo, bowls, and it's picked off leg stump over the top of square leg. There is a man out on the boundary, so it'll just be 1. Do you like it when as a bass player and when you're in an orchestra? I suppose it can sometimes you feel a bit anonymous tucked away there, and then you get to wear a nice costume.
Yeah, it happens very rarely. Yeah, my vanity comes like, I like to dress up and get.
I can imagine you being a bit
around
of a showman.
Well, I try
when you get the chance.
Although it's nerve-wracking then, because it's brand new. All of a sudden, you're like, well, I'm not really qualified to do this, and
right,
it's a different skill set. But
well, let's not forget that you did commentate in Tales before.
Yeah, that's quite right for the World Cup final. And
very adaptable. Yeah. Feluqueo bows a short one way outside off stump, and it's clobbered with an almost perpendicular bat, like a smash, really, tennis smash, and it's gone all the way to the cover point boundary for 4 runs.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary.
Oh, he had to wait a long time for that, didn't he? And thought, well, why not? Let's go for it. And lifted it up and over. Even when it's pitching, the ball is on the outfield. It's not running that fast, is it? Maybe that outfield's a little bit slow. I can't think why that would be, unless there's been a lot of rain of late in Cape Town since we were away from it. Feluqueo in again. Oh, now what on earth happened there? It was a slower, shorter delivery, which Bairstow thought he was going to pick up over square leg. Swung round and completely missed it. And through it dribbled to the wicketkeeper. 47 for no wicket.
Just played way too early.
I'm not sure where he was trying to hit that. His body suggested he was trying to hit it to the leg side. The way the bat came through suggested he was trying to cut it. But it was a rather clever ball again that he'd taken the pace off. So good changes of pace this from fella Cuello. Now he does pick up this one. Short arm jab. Could be in trouble. No, he won't. I thought for a moment there might be a catch out there in the boundary, but it's gone to the left of the man running around from long leg. And it's 4 more. 50 up for England. 50 up, 51 for no wicket from 9 overs, 1 over in the main batting power play to come.
Chris the Choir said, fuck the 100, dismissive enough for you?
No,
because you use a hashtag at least.
Yeah.
Jen Rose, lovely, adorable people. Hello, I'm tentatively hopeful that my Chinese bat flu is almost done, and I hope that you are likewise well. How's the mood down in the foxholes?
Oh, well, the foxes are fine. That just reminded me, I was at work on Sunday, and I'd sat about 1.5 meters away from the same bloke for 2 nights, Friday night and Sunday night, as JJ Smuts comes into bowl. And now Roy tries to launch this up and over extra cover. Ball doesn't come on. There's a mixture of bat and pad, dribbles out on the offside. And then he told us he was coughing away. And then he told us that he'd just let out his place on Airbnb to some people from Wuhan. Well, I mean, I could be the source then of killing you all. This is flat batted and caught and long on by the man running in there. And England have lost their first wicket. Roy thought he could go over the top of the man on the boundary, but Smuts has a first international wicket. He's got 4 for 4 on one List A game. He's now got 1 for 1 in ODI cricket. Yeah, I feel as if they've been blunted a little bit by the lack of pace on this pitch.
It's a good way to test the ego, though, isn't it? You think of KP and his problems against slow left armers. If you get an innocuous bowler, he's just going to bowl sort of filthy darts, and Roy can't help himself. Thinks, I'm too good for this. I'm going to smash this guy out of the park, and comes a cropper. I think he's really inventive bit of early skippering from QDK.
Indeed, it's Reza Hendricks, the man who's taken the catch in that position. But as you say, it's ego, isn't it? Because there are a lot of batsmen. You put a guy back at long on and you think, oh well, I better be careful there. I won't be able to hit it that far. But Roy is such a big hitter that he thinks he can take him on. On this occasion,
you wonder if even de Kock is in his ear saying, giving a bit of South African chatter, come on, show
show us your class.
Yeah. Don't you wish you playing in the for the Proteas? You're not good enough. Hit him out of the park.
Wouldn't get in our team. Yeah.
Anyway, good stuff. Tomo, I'm well behind on these, so sorry. Tomo Pollitt asks, where does Ngidi fit in the rankings for good fast bowlers' arses?
Oh, arses.
I think Nakul Pandey would have him at the top. Nakul
is he a big,
always been
fan of the
promoting Ngidi's ass,
okay.
For sure.
More tweets.
Pirate Badshaw, not all pirates are from the West Country. Only last month I spotted a specialist history book on the pirates of the Irish coast, Ireland's Pirates Trail by Des Eakin. Was thinking of get a copy. Get a copy. Go for it.
Sounds interesting.
And then send us some choice bits.
Out to the middle comes this man.
His voice is high-pitched and ginger hair like a picked, but massive runs he has hit, so there's that. Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root, actually.
It's pretty damn good to have 16 one-day international hundreds and 33 50s, and that's what he's got. He's averaging 51 in this form of the game. People talk about the fact that he may not make the T20 World Cup team because we've got so many hitters, but the Bear and I were kind of talking about the fact that he's the glue, isn't he, around which the others
to rotate the strike.
Yes, and you can have a massive hitter who can fail very early on, and then you've just lost a massive hitter, and you've got no runs at all. Joe Root's beard's getting more impressive as well. In comes Smuts to bowl to Root. Hit my pad! There's a big appeal for LBW. I thought it was just sliding down. And
I didn't do enough.
Yeah.
He's not a massive tweaker of it, is he?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm not sure there is any tweak at all.
No.
It just seems to almost comes out of the whole of his hand.
Yeah, I mean he's not that much like the Bear. He doesn't,
No, he doesn't give it. He doesn't give it the tweak
give it
of
a
the
rip.
Bear.
Ooh.
I mean he's a true twirly man. Is the Bear? In he comes again. Forward is Root in defence. Ball dribbling out onto the onside. Smuts trots around. That's not like the bear either. He'd be expecting someone else to do the work for him there. And there is no run. We'll have a change at the end of the over. I think it'll be 3-man. And a special treat for you. You've got Manny, and he's not actually angry. Although he sounded pretty angry when he was talking about rugby earlier.
Yeah.
Anyway,
doesn't take him long.
see if you can get him wound up. Here comes Smuts. He's got a slip. He gives this one air. It's beautifully stroked by Root, but straight to extra cover. And there is no run. The door creaks open here in the ghostly towers of Gorillashire. And I see Jono coming on. So it's like the old and the new. Manny and Jono is flicked away to mid-wicket for a single. And there's a tweet. What is the tweet? Rog?
Well, let me just... I've got loads to get through, so while we're changing over...
Oh, right, that's it.
Yeah, Messi Jez says, tough choice for Butler and Stokes, really. 25 degrees, sunny beaches and surfing in Cape Town. Or 2 degrees, drizzle, dark and Boris in England. It's actually quite nice here today. It's sort of early spring. That's why Manny's in such a good mood. Mog says, whatever cultures emerge from the ashes of the apocalypse, be they human or cephalod or cockroach, will hail the names of your patrons as prophets and poets and heroes of the golden age. Spit the dog, hello, good morning, and bollocks. Condensed milk sandwiches for everyone. I'll get onto those as soon as I can. Spit. Par Bradshaw, the rise and fall of the city of mahogany. If there is to be interruptions, it must be for Brecht. The most common emergency at Gorilla Cricket is Hendo drank my last beer, says Messi Jez. Spangly Sai says, opera you say, Rings of the Nibelung featuring Bugs Bunny is clearly the best. Did you not have a jingle for Mother Cricket? Maybe we do. Chris the Choir, Louisa Miller doesn't open until the 12th of Feb. But no, we need to do the odd rehearsal. And I'm going to hand over to Jono to catch up on the rest of these tweets. And Manny and Knackle will helm the process.
Morning all. 52 for 1, Pepper in bowls, and that's a late cut by Root down to squarish third man for an agreed single. Root onto 2 from 5. And the one casualty this morning for England is Jason Roy, who tried to go big over long on. And rather clothed it down his throat. 53 for 1. But, we reckon par score of about 260 if recent history is to anything to go by.
Yeah, and probably that will be a fairly competitive score. It's not the easiest chasing ground when teams get 250 plus in recent years.
Involves width driven straight to mid-off. Out. Poor shot. Rubbish batting. Probably off the toe of the bat. There was a bit of width there. Didn't get it. 53 for 2. Bairstow goes for 19.
Doesn't look like it's coming on though, does it? Looks a bit sticky.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few attempted drives on the up that have gone in the air, either over fielders or just short of fielders. We saw Bechlaquayo drop one, a tough catch, but one that possibly should have been taken at international level. That was a pretty simple catch for him. That's Luto Sipamla at mid-off, the ODI debutante.
You wouldn't want to drop that. But the bat rather turned in his hand, didn't get it. There was width on offer, didn't move his feet, and certainly didn't get the ball in the middle of the bat. So he goes 53 for 2. England need to rebuild. Are we up to date with
we've got a tweet in from Strange Carrots. Well, that's karma. My last tweet suggesting I'd be listening all day in the office. As soon as you read it, my tune-in radio was packed up. Spangly Sai, magnificent. Chris the Quiet, if Rog wants to dress up to play, he could join Andre Rieu's orchestra, but probably prefer to retain sanity.
It's a very niche musician tweet, I think. I think Quinton de Kock recognised, I think the pitch is holding up a bit, and got John Smuts on from one end to bowl the left-arm spin, and Bechlaquayo to bowl his sort of mix of cutters and sort of hard into the pitch back of a length. He's got Luto Sipamla, who's an out-and-out fast bowler, who he's yet to use, but I think good captaincy from Quinton de Kock. Only the third time he's captaining in a one-day international. And speaking of good captains,
we have this man.
wrought one of the greatest transformations upon a cricket team that you will ever see.
Well,
post the 2015 World Cup.
Him and Andrew Strauss, I'm going to give it to them jointly. They had the vision and the capability to change things from Ridiculous to the sublime. First ball bouncer, slightly leg side. Has he got away with that? Probably has. Yes, he has. It remains 53 for 2.
But another slower ball. There was a little slower ball bouncer from Pethaquai. I think even with the Bairstow one, he might have taken a little bit of pace off it, just held it a little bit deeper in the crease.
I think he's one of those bowlers who naturally takes pace off. I don't think he's that quick, is he?
It's also the second bat that Bairstow used, so he's obviously got 2 ones on
Two, both are rubbish, yes. or could it be the who's holding the bat? Who knows? The next ball, Morgan defends straight to cover, and there is no run. England, 2 men new at the crease. A bit of a rebuilding process that needs to go on. And if we're right, then it doesn't look like a road, does it? I mean, a couple of balls have stopped a wee bit, so it's difficult to drive on the arc, particularly when you're new to the crease. But it looks a lovely day there.
Yeah, it's sort of in the high 20s. No clouds really in the sky, and a sellout at Newlands. Glorious.
In bowls, and it's sweetly driven wide of mid-off. Do they hustle through for a quick single? They do. Shy at the stumps, misses, but I think he was in any event. 54 for 2. Morgan underway.
Clown Assassin, Scotty from marketing is using the same playbook. It's Lie City Central here at the minute. Leah Bundle of Joy, I really hope that JJ Smuts writes bad pornographic novellas in his spare time that he then sells on Amazon as a hobby, you know.
Well, what I want to know is he any relation to General Smuts? He was Prime Minister, I think, of South Africa back in the 30s and 40s. Unlikely, because it's quite a common name over there, I guess. But in bowls, Root plays no shot at all. A filthy ball down the leg side. It was another attempted slower ball. Bounced twice before it got to the keeper. He watched it carefully. 1 to the total, 55 for 2.
Why? Johnny, you were asking in the green room whether he was any relation to Kelly Smuts. He's his brother.
Oh, right, okay.
Kelly Smuts is his older brother. Oh, no, younger brother, in fact.
Younger brother.
In bowls and dabbed offside, just backward of point, down to wide third man for a single by Joe Root. He moves on to 3 and will keep the strike as it's the end of the over. 56 for 2, 11 overs gone, run rate of just hovering above 5.
So Kelly Smuts might not be a name that's so familiar to some of our listeners. Do you want to sort of enlighten people?
Yeah, so having played at Wimbledon Cricket Club for a few years, after I'd left, Kelly Smuts came over as their overseas player. Played a few weeks, decided he wasn't really up for it, and I think didn't turn up for a Saturday game. The phone call went in, "Where are you?" "Oh, I'm at the airport, I'm heading home, lads." Which is quite an interesting.
So Wimbledon one's played with 10. That's quite
I'm sure they'll have sorted that out as a
No, I'm sure they probably did. They probably did. Because their games, presumably, it's for 11 o'clock starts, aren't they? In
the middle of the season, they'll start 11:30. Yeah. But the rest of it 1 o'clock.
Still playing first-class cricket. Kelly Smuts scored 100 in first-class cricket just a few days ago.
Wow, he's obviously some player then.
Yeah, never played international cricket, but has had a pretty good first-class career.
And Smuts in bowls, and this is straight by Root through the covers to the cover sweeper for an agreed single. Root moves on to 4, 57 for 2.
They have to be really watchful. This pitch looks incredibly slow. Slow turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, the batters are going to have to be really watchful. I wonder if it's going to get. I think it might even get harder throughout the day, to be quite honest.
You can't think it's going to get any easier. I mean,
it might speed up a little bit under lights, maybe.
Possible. It's got that sort of tacky plasticine quality to it, which anyway, left armature, left hand bats. He bowls a filthy full toss, which is clipped down to long on.
You'd have to think that had he faced another 25 or 30 balls, Morgan's put that one deep into the stands.
Yeah,
well.
I think he was playing the situation there, wasn't he? A bit thinking, I'm captain. This looks really bad if I hit it straight down his throat.
Less World Cup final, more Afghanistan.
Yeah. Smuts in bowls. Root strokes the ball down to long off. Yet another single. He moves on to 5.
Not dissimilar, I guess, to the pitch that they Lords produced for the World Cup final.
It's a disgraceful pitch.
It made shot making really, really difficult for everyone.
Everyone said, what a great final. I mean, it was very exciting finish, but it was rubbish cricket for most of the day. Low full toss, hit down to a long on for yet another single. I mean, and also, I would be spitting teeth if I'd been any member of the England side, because frankly that England side were, on any proper wicket, are 70 runs better than New Zealand, and New Zealand must have been thinking all our Christmases have come at once. Guess what? Another single down to long on this time. That all our Christmases have come at once. They produced a pitch on which we can actually win, and they almost did.
I don't think the ECB had anything to do with the pitches, with it being an ICC tournament.
Indeed.
So I think
but I mean, surely you I don't care who's in charge. You want to produce, particularly for a final, better pitches than that.
They're not conducive to good cricket.
No, they're not. The next ball is just chopped down to backward point, and there is no run. 5 singles off a 61 for 2. I mean, any game in which Colin de Grandhomme, 10 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 28. That tells me everything I need to know.
That's
shit wicket.
That's ODI cricket from the mid-90s.
Yeah, I mean, it's just rubbish. I mean, well done to him, but at that level, he should not be bowling 10 overs, 2 for 28.
Yeah, New Zealand had
128. Yes.
New Zealand had a slightly slow wicket at Old Trafford, helped by the rain, where they beat India, bowled very well. But England absolutely smashed Australia on a very fast pitch at Edgbaston just in the semi-final.
In bowls, Root strokes the ball as is his way through the covers. A glorious shot with effortless, but just for a single.
My bowling style has been ingloriously referred to as anti-cricket. By one of the lads that I used to play with. I think I'm known for bowling in a similar style to Mr. de Grandhomme.
So you're the Sean Dyche of cricket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dibble-dobble.
Absolute wobblers,
Nothing wrong with dibble-dobble at club level. There's nothing wrong with dibble-dobble anywhere, but in bowls and off the thigh pad, I fancy, from Morgan. They will pick up one leg by 63 for 2.
A couple of tweets come in. Imagine when the left arm spin master arrives, I'm interested to hear his opinion on JJ Smuts' action.
We'll put that question to our left arm spin correspondent when he's on.
Clown Assassin, lol, don't get me started on a lot of them. That would be a waste of my time and yours. Chris TV, afternoon all. I'm in the frustrating position of being in Cape Town but not having tickets for the match. Just for curiosity's sake, without looking it up, what would you guess Felaqueo averages with the bat in ODIs?
I have no idea, but he bowls a filthy wide outside off stump. Root has nothing to do with it, and it is signalled as such. 64 for 2.
My guess
Felaqueo's his average in ODIs.
With the bat, high 20s? 25, 20, 26, 27 or so?
I'm going 18.
I'm going, 18 and a half, 19, I reckon.
In bowls, tight to the line of off stump, and Root covers up and defence, pushes it up to mid off, and there is no run.
I think they see Felaqueo as a genuine all-rounder. I just don't really think that he's done it. He's having an occasional.
Well, he's quite round.
Yeah, well,
I'll give him that.
I think he's a bowling all-rounder.
He can hit the ball a very, very long way.
Yes, but he's not a genuine batter. So I mean, he's not a genuine. Oh, look, there are very few genuine all-rounders.
He's also a cacanda, and they should be banned.
Yes. I quite agree with you.
He's
Felaqueo in bowls, and this is chopped by Root good diving stop at backward point.
He's got to put that shot away. It's the one that always gets him in trouble. It got him in trouble throughout the Test match.
But I don't mind it in this format of the game.
Yeah.
But you can see I think it was the last Test where he played it once, got away with it, and he had a real go at himself.
Put it away then, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He got out in a different fashion, but. I can understand when you're chopping from format to format why it's a difficult game mentally anyway. Next ball is pitched up and Root strokes the ball neatly to mid-off, who decides not to field. He runs past it and they should come back for a second. That was very poor, a bit of fielding on an absolute billiard table. 66 for 2. Root picks up a couple of runs.
You say the chopping and changing between formats. This is England's first one-day international since that World Cup final, and I don't think Root's played anything except Test cricket.
No, I know, but the fact that you move from one format to another, and the two games are quite different now, particularly as a batter, a slower ball, really, it would be called in club cricket a long hop, which Root missed.
They now call it heavy length, don't they, in the professional game?
Oh,
just
call it
call
whatever
heavy
they
length
like.
delivery.
It was just crap, which he hit down hard into the ground and it dribbled out to point, and there is no run. Any more tweets?
Yes, we got one from Gits and Gratz. It's great that after all the talk of pirates this morning, Knuckle has come topically dressed as Captain Haddock from Tintin.
billions of blistering billiard tables and so forth. I did actually go at Halloween. I did go dressed as a sea captain. I bought myself a little sea captain's hat and one of those. It's this toy pipe that blows bubbles.
Amazing.
And then spray painted my beard and hair white.
Smuts in bowls and chopped hard down into the ground, and they hustle through for a well-judged single. 67 for 2. Carry on.
Chris the Choir, wow, never expected reference to Orfstieg and Umfold Stats Mahogany, the only opera I've played double bass for on top of scaffolding at uni.
Played an opera while scaffolding, that's pretty impressive.
Well,
Smuts round the wicket in bowls to Root, who strokes the ball off his back foot out to the cover sweeper for an agreed single. 68 for 2.
Aidan asks, why with all the slower balls and change of pace doesn't Quinny stand up to the stumps to Felaqueo? It's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, he did to Philander, didn't he, quite a lot in the test matches. I thought that was a good idea.
And Pretorius and Patterson.
Yeah.
We all know my views on Pretorius.
A reverse sweep, chipped up in the air, should be out. Is there somebody there? There is not. No, he got rather more of that than I thought he did. I thought initially it was going to be a top edge, but he got it over the man in the infield, down to the boundary for one of these.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Some indication of how slow this pitch is. He was so early on that.
Yeah, and he got enough on it. I mean, it was top edgy, but he's got a good bat. Maybe you should pinch his bat, Johnny.
Chris Tyndale, this is interesting. In case you don't ever look it up, Felaqueo averages 32.29 with the bat in ODIs.
Well. Touch the next ball into the onside. Does Morgan. Big gap at mid-wicket. A jog through for a comfortable single. 73 for 2.
Yeah, he's useful in that number 7 roll down the order. As I say, he hits the ball a very long way. And there'll be a few not outs in there as well, as there always are down the order.
Smuts in bowls and Root goes back and just knocks the ball up towards mid-on. It's intercepted by the bowler and there is no run.
He's taken the role that Chris Morris had during the World Cup, and I think he's probably not as good a bowler as Morris, but he's a more reliable batsman.
Yeah.
Smuts in bowls and Root just knocks it away just short of square leg, and they trot through for a comfortable single. He will keep the strike at the end of the over. It's 74 for 2. Root has 11 and Morgan 9.
Morris is a funny one. Yeah. I watched it. He obviously came over as an overseas for Surrey, and you watch him and he bowls absolute rockets, and he can smash it miles into the stands. But for some reason he's almost like one of these journeymen. He's playing in the Big Bash. He's kind of, keeps picking up contracts, but he doesn't ever seem to have that.
But there's no consistency to his game, John. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, he's clocked it at over 90 quite often.
And he's an outstanding fielder.
But you think to yourself, well, why aren't you doing better?
Yeah. What's special about it?
Yeah.
And again, that's kind of my view on Pretorius. I mean, my wife, I did wonder how long this would take for my wife to start abusing me on the tweets. Lisa G, what's Pretorius ever done to you? Leave him alone. Thanks, Lisa.
Faflaquaya in bowls, and this is dabbed to backward point, straight to him, and there is no run.
Genro, Chasing Willow, very, very impressed to hear you today. Manny, what a lovely surprise. Any chance of convincing Zoob to make a cameo?
Zoob.
I think Zoob is
fully retired.
That ship has sailed.
Dear old Zoob. Still living in the 19th century. 74 for 2. There's Faflaquaya. He's got 1 for 17 from his 3.1 overs in bowls, and Root chops that down to third man, who was rather squarish, so allow Root to hustle back for a second. He's not the quickest between the wickets, as Johnny Bairstow has found out in Test cricket a couple of times, because he sold him down the Swanee a couple of times, but he managed to make his ground. 76 for 2, and he deliberately went played that fine. He does
again a yard. It's a yard, and it's an easy catch for kind of deep gully there.
He knows what he's doing.
But I think with Root, he's got so many different cut shots, hasn't he? I mean, he can play it through first slip to somewhere in front of cover, because he's got so much time there, and he shows it there.
That's a lovely shot.
He's taken that from about off stump or just outside and worked it wide of mid-on. Smuts, who's thickly built lad. Chases it down well and will come back for a well-run 3.79 for 2.
Smuts has had some fitness issues in the last year. He missed the... he was in this touring party to go to India for the T20s, but failed the pre-series fitness test.
I'm not surprised.
And has had to come through a fitness test before this series too.
Oh, well, he's carrying quite a bit of bulk.
He is a big man.
Yeah, but there's big and there's bulk.
Reminds me a little bit of Justin Kemp, the former South African all-rounder.
Nice.
Probably not as good a cricketer as Justin Kemp, who was a hell of a batsman when he wanted to be.
Square in bowls. Morgan tucks it off his hip through just backwards square leg. There's one. Are they going to come back for 2? They do comfortably. The run's beginning to flow now for this pair. 81 for 2. They had to rebuild for a wee while, but they've tucked into Square in this over. And made it look quite easy.
Just milked him, really.
De Kock's got to be he's got to be saying to the lads, come on, just bowl one side of the wicket. That's the way to. You can set a field for that, but if your bowlers aren't either, bowling consistently enough or haven't got the mental fortitude to get it done, then it's really tough as a skipper.
He bowls a bouncer, and it's going to be one of these as it flies over Morgan's head.
A bit tennis ball bouncy.
It was, and it was a good call from the umpire. 82 for 2. Morgan awaits. No slips in place, and he's out. He chips it straight.
Bump ball.
Was it? I do beg his pardon. I thought he'd chipped it straight to him at the short extra cover.
You've got the bins on as well.
Yeah, I know. My eyes are going.
Hard, straight into the ground.
Yeah, it was.
Straight.
It's just the way he took it. I thought, oh shit. But he hit it straight into the ground. You're absolutely right. A crowd catch. Kick me out of the ground. Kick me out of the ground. 82 for 2. Morgan on 11 from 12 and Root 16 from 20. But for in bowls, and this is squirted off a thick outside edge to point, and there is no run. It completes his 4th over. 1 for 25. 82 for 2. We've had 15 overs.
You would think these two are ideal sort of accumulators on a slightly sluggish pitch. That's of course what we thought during the World Cup final, and probably they played. Root and Morgan both played probably their worst innings in England shirts. Root 7 off 30, Morgan 9 off 22, and put all that pressure on the lower middle order, and just that sort of torturous period in the middle of that England innings, but looking a lot more fluent today. We have some comments on Crick Tracker, and we should say it would be remiss of us not to say happy birthday to the CEO of Crick Tracker, Syed. Happy birthday. Debashish Kayal, Asa Jan, Ahmed Khanani, Shahid Katak, Ato Lakan, Tilu Anand, and Mohammed Iqan are all with us on Facebook Live, and
Talking
we have a bowling change.
Fat bowlers, we have another fat bowler.
Yeah.
Or it is this man.
Yeah, he also had to come through a pre-series fitness test.
I'm not bloody well. How did he get through?
Kelvin Grovend is very much the spinner's end at Newland. It's from this end that Bess and Maharaj bowled really long spells in the Test match. He's replaced
I thought that was
Smuts.
one of the mistakes South Africa made. I thought they'd allowed Bess to bowl far too much rather than being more proactive. It starts with a filthy full bugger, which is stroked down to long on for a single.
Shamsi is now, with the retirement of Imran Tahir in one-day international cricket, South Africa's leading spinner in the one-day internationals. He's got a job on to fill the hole that Tahir left in terms of his wicket-taking and his ability to both sort of slow down the scoring rate and take wickets at pretty much any stage of the innings.
I mean, Tahir's an incredible bowler, isn't he?
Yeah, but he a deeply annoying tit.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. But he
Absolutely.
is. He is.
The celebrations.
Oh, shut up! I mean, no, you're not South African. We know that. That's fine. But please don't pretend you are. He's got a slip in place now. He's got a backward point. He's got a short extra cover, a long off and a long on. So he's a left armer to left-hander, and he tries to late cut and misses. And neatly taken by de Kock, and there is no run.
Resurgence of left arm wrist spin in the last few years. He doesn't turn the ball anywhere near as much as, say, Kuldeep Yadav for India.
A bit of turn
He
there.
turns it a little bit. He's got a sort of a good quicker ball. He gets the he's very much a sort of attacking wicket-taking bowler.
He bowls, and it's swept, and it's well fielded. I think that's Van der Dusen.
Run
Direct
out, that's brilliant.
hit, and I think he may well be run out, Joe Root, at the non-striker's end. It was a great bit of fielding. They're certainly worried. Good sweep shot. It was, I think Root is on his way home because it was fielded very well by Van der Dusen, and he's out by about 3 foot.
Excellent work from the man at backward point. And a wicket slightly against the run of play.
There must be a run out here. Oh, how tragic. How tragic, how tragic, how tragic.
Well, not quite tragic, but nice to hear from the late, great John Arlott. It was a firm sweep shot by Morgan. It was a cracking bit of fielding by Van der Dusen. Put the dive in away to his right-hand side, and from a prone position, actually threw it quite hard. Direct hit. You've always got a chance, and they went upstairs to check, but I think everybody knew, and fair enough that he was backing up because there were runs there to be had he not fielded it, so I can understand why it happens. 83 for 3.
They both wanted the run and then were spooked by the fact they weren't expecting Van der Dusen to actually be able to haul that in. Once he picked it up, you've got two choices there. Either go back immediately or run. I think they would have made the run if they'd gone for it.
I don't think so.
He's a very good fielder, though, isn't he?
He is a very good fielder, and they were banking on the fact that it was going to ricochet away and he wasn't going to field it cleanly. And once he fielded it cleanly, they were in trouble.
Certainly going to cheer Mogg up. Seriously, why the fuck is Root playing, was his question earlier on. So now he's
an outstanding
one-day
batsman.
An average of over 51 in ODIs.
He'll do for me.
Leah, bundle of joy. A better indicator of Andeal's batting in ODIs is his average contribution of 18 runs per innings. So
that's still not bad for a number 7. You don't get that many chances.
On the topic of fitness tests, have you seen the fun Akmal had going commando during one and the prudish reaction by the PCB?
Umar Akmal exposing himself during a fitness test for his first class team.
Oh dear.
Other people who failed that fitness test: Kamran Akmal and Salman Butt. May his bones be crushed.
Absolutely. TV umpire, Root and Morgan have so much game intelligence and experience between them, you get the feeling it will take something special to get both of them out.
Give me tweets that don't age well for 200.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you're right.
And what a piece of cricket it was. It was something special.
It was something very special indeed, and fair enough. I mean, 99 times out of 100, you're going to get away with that as a batsman. Whether you're the striker or the non-striker. I mean, they didn't on that occasion, but sometimes you just got to give credit to the opposition, and that was one of such occasion.
That has been a hallmark of South Africa's cricket pretty much since readmission, of being an outstanding fielding team. In the last few years, their standards have slipped, but that was excellent.
And I thought that was noticeable in the Test series, that there just wasn't that sort of intensity in the field.
They put some catches down, didn't they?
They put some, indeed they did. Look, I know, of course, it's very difficult when you lose some stellar players. You take Jacques Kallis, who's probably the world's second best all-rounder ever.
One of the very greatest slip fielders of all time.
Yeah, definitely. Clearly not as good as Gary Sobers, and no argument on that. Shamsi in bowls, and Morgan goes back and plays it defensively back to the bowler, and there is no run. The new man is at the non-striker's end. Well, we can have his jingle at the end of this over, I would suggest.
The man who bowled himself out of the World Cup squad with 3 overs that got smashed around in the one-day international against Pakistan.
83 for 3. South Africa having won the toss and inserted England. Shamsi in bowls, and Morgan comes watchfully forward and plays defensively back to the bowler, and there is no run.
Shamsi does have is a very good googly, which is something to watch for. Usually bowls it pretty early, especially to the left-handers. That was
that's a great piece.
You can't get tired of watching that from Van der Dusen.
It was a great bit of fielding, because I mean, had he not had direct hit, he was going to get back in, because by the time the bowler had taken it, he's out. Caught at slip. Very good catch. He was looking to run that down to third man. It was read by the slip fielder, who looks like, is it Bavuma? Small enough to be him. It is. He moved across to his left-hand side and pounched it two-handedly, and the captain, Morgan, has gone for 11, 83 for 4.
before that delivery, I was going to say it seemed like, obviously, think what you will about Denley, he's quite circumspect in the way he goes about things, and I was going to say, maybe Morgan's now going to have to kind of change the way he plays a bit. Root's quite a free-flowing player, they're picking up singles a lot, and I just wonder whether he kind of felt like he had to go back into his shell a little bit, and has that brought that about?
I think, again, it's stuck in the wicket a little bit. It's turned that little bit more than he was expecting, and so he's not quite in control of the shot. It was an excellent catch by Temba Bavuma.
It was. I mean, he read it. I mean, and you could see him moving to the ball as he played the shot. No, decent bit of cricket. And we have a new man to the crease. Do we probably have a jingle? Do we have a jingle?
We have two new men to the crease. Yes.
Hit me.
Yes, an old man and a young man. And also on Naught of Naught.
Joe Denley, he's almost as old as the theme song, but Chef is gone and we need someone to bat at the top of the order.
I thought in bowls, and this is dabbed down to third man by Denley. Oh, is that Banton?
Denley.
It is Denley. I beg your pardon. It is Denley for a single. He's off the mark as we see the slip catch once again, and a fine catch it was too.
And a fine celebration.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was a double fist pump. Yeah, why not?
Shamsi likes a slightly imaginative celebration. There was one in the India series recently where he took off his shoe and pretended to be receiving a phone call with it.
I mean, why not?
There was one in the Mzansi Super League. He did a magic trick.
Oh, I saw this with a piece of string, yeah.
In bowls and left alone outside off stump, showing good judgment, having nothing to do with that.
Pretty sure Banton would have been looking at the situation with Root and Morgan, thinking, it's a lovely debut. This, if it's 180 for 4 when I come in, I can,
exactly.
Play a bit more my natural game. He's really got to manage the way he goes about building.
Yeah, he has, but in a way that gives him. I mean, he's probably thinking, well, I'm batting at 6. I probably won't have 34 overs to bat, but actually, this gives him an opportunity, doesn't it? He's got a wide slip in place. He goes back and across and plays it defensively back to the bowler, and there is no run. So I mean, it does cut both ways. That he can now bat time.
Yeah, it's an unusual situation for him in some respects. He doesn't usually bat in the middle order. Certainly in white ball cricket for Somerset, he's done a little bit in his brief appearances in the county championship, but he's mostly an opener. It's a test for the new man, and that's kind of what England are wanting out of this series.
Yes, I mean, they wouldn't choose to be 84 for 4, but in a way, it's you're going to find out more about him in this situation. They're supposed to play defensively out to mid-off. You'll find out more about Banton in this situation than if the game was set up and he's just to come in and just go whack, whack, whack with 8-10 overs to go.
Yeah, because even if he pulls that off, whether he pulls that off or not...
he's got licence just then to go out and play, whereas here, he's got to build an innings if he's good enough.
Yeah, big role to do for the team today. TV umpire, changing my handle to TV jinxer. After his previous sweep, probably not the worst idea.
In bowls, and Banton pulls, and struck on the back thigh pad. It dribbles out onto the offside, and there is no run. And he is a good puller of the ball, and does seem to pick up length. Well, like all good batsmen, picks up length very quickly. But I like batsmen who can pull almost just when it's not really short. I mean, you go back to Michael Vaughan, irritating git though he is. Yes, I mean, you're one of the best pullers of the ball, but I mean, I don't think McGrath knew what was happening for a wee while when Vaughan was doing that, and they weren't really bad balls. The next ball just doesn't come through at all, and it really sticks in the pitch, and Banton mistimes it, dribbles into the pitch and dribbles back to the bowler. End of the 17th over, 84 for 4.
It looks, you can tell, I mean, obviously on debut he is going to be a little bit nervous. To me, it doesn't look like he's got his feet going yet. He's gone back 3, but he's kind of gone half back 3 or 4 times there in the over. I think Give him. I've always thought get through the first 20 balls and then you could start to settle in. Your feet start to move.
Definitely. But I think there's probably two of most batsmen. I know there are a few absolute naturals, and that your feet move very quickly. But also, this is going to be difficult for Banton because the ball is not coming on. Because the pitch is a bit plasticine-like as a pitch, and also the ball's now 17, 18 overs old, so it's probably got a little bit softer, which just exacerbates the whole slowness of things. So he will have to make a lot of the pace, or the England batsmen will now have to make a lot of pace on the ball themselves. Shamsi in bowls, and it's clipped nicely through mid-wicket just for a single, 85 for 4.
We'll see if Denley can actually miss the field.
Yeah, I mean, he does look. I mean, we probably all played with them. Good sort of net players. I mean, they look $1 million. But if you don't
get him on a sticky one in April, and
but the number of players he played with, he played those lovely cover drives, but so often just hit the fielder rather than hit the gaps. 85 for 4. Banton, Shamsi for the first time in bowls, and he, a lot of ball of hand coming into that shot and worked away towards mid-wicket, and there is no run.
I mean, none of England's batsmen have really, with the possible exception of Roy,
have got the game.
Have got the pace of the pitch, really.
Yeah, it'd be difficult. I mean, obviously Banton's widely regarded as someone who likes to play his strokes as well, so he's really going to have to rein himself in early. Forget his natural temperament for wanting to kind of try and hit the ball to the fence. He's really got to dig in for the side here and bat long.
Just knock some singles around, get your innings going a bit.
And there's still plenty of gaps there as well. He's got a slip in place, short extra cover, short mid-wicket. He comes down the track, doesn't really get to the pitch of the ball, and almost just kicks the ball away with his front pad. And there is no run.
I like what he was trying to do there, though. He was trying to come down the pitch. He was trying to come down the pitch, not to necessarily smash it over the bowler's head, but to manufacture the angle for a single.
Trying to create length as well for himself a little bit.
Give yourself options. If you get to the pitch of it, go through the shot. If you don't,
I think what you said, Manny, about the South Africans allowing Best to bowl to them. It's amazing as a spinner how they, if they can, the batsmen allow them to bowl at them freely. It makes their job a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, Shamsi in bowls a quicker ball, which is tucked off his hip by Banton out to deep square leg, and he's off the mark with that single. 86 for 4. Yeah, during that spell, well as he bowled, and I accept the Best is a better bowler than he was when he first played Test cricket. Thank heaven, because in his first stanza in Test cricket, unless he hit a brick, he wasn't on the pitch. He wasn't turning it at all.
No, he's at least.
He's got an off break now, but I mean, I didn't see any, apart from the one that doesn't turn. I didn't see. With Moeen Ali, he's got a ball. He can beat either side of the bat. He's got the one that drifts away from the right-hander down the leg side and wided, and correctly so by the umpire, not taken cleanly by de Kock. 87 for 4.
Moeen does have an arm ball. I mean, you don't really necessarily.
Yeah, but he's more importantly than his arm ball. He's got one that drifts away from. So he can beat the right-hander on his outside edge in bowls and stroked.
I don't think he arrived onto
the
I don't think he arrived onto the international scene with that, though.
No, I think that's fair comment. I think that's fair comment, and I think he has got better. And look, Bessie's young. Can he improve? Clearly, there's time on his side.
Well, he already has.
Yes, indeed. But my argument would be he needs to improve again.
Oh, I agree.
He's got to stage 1. He needs to get to stage 2 or 3. Tucked square into the onside for a single by Banton. 89 for 4.
This thing of the mystery finger spinner has kind of gone out of the game. I mean, the dooser has kind of been worked out as a weapon. But
banned because it's a chuck.
It's very difficult to bowl that delivery unless you unless you are Murali and you're a physical freak when you actually can't straighten your arm.
Yeah. But he said I've got a different view on that. He kept on saying, I can do that with a brace on my arm, which indeed he could because he proved it. But he never bowled in a test match or indeed any first-class game with a brace on his arm.
No, he didn't, but he's done it
I wonder why.
As much as lab conditions. But anyway, it's not so much about that. It's not so much but it's about that ability to put enough revs on the ball that you get drift, and so you create that. Someone like Nathan Lyon is brilliant at this, where he's always trying to turn the ball.
More after this. Faflagoya short and pulled viciously by Banton out to deep mid wicket for one of these. Which is, well, I suppose that shot is illustrative. I know it's a slow pitch, but of the fact that it's a big scoring area for Banton. He does pick up that length quickly. Didn't really. Well, in fact, I'm not sure he got all of that, but he got enough of it to smash it out to the mid-wicket boundary.
It's more of a swat than a pull.
93 for 4, and he wafts outside off stump. A lovely looking shot, but he just missed the ball as it swung gently away from him. Wasn't really there for the shot. Driving on the up on this pitch is always going to be very difficult. He was on the line of about a 6 stump, no real foot movement, and a pretty loose shot, particularly given the circumstances. 93 for 4. The run rate is fine, the wicket rate is not. And these two need just about a partnership or two. Faflagoya in bowls and wafts outside off stump again. Put that shot away, you silly little boy.
I think going back to Bess, obviously one of his first 2 Test matches were at Lords, where it's not going to turn a huge amount as well.
Point.
And I think the great thing about Nathan Lyon, and he's an incredible bowler, but people talk about the amount of overspin he creates as well. So it's the double bubble with him is yes, he turns it, but he also the bounce he generates as well is huge.
Yeah, and the dip.
Yeah, but so short legs are always in the game.
Yes, yeah.
It means that even if the ball doesn't turn, and sometimes it'll hit the leather and not turn, it's still a dangerous delivery.
He's in bowls and beaten outside. Oh, that was actually quite well bowled. That nipped away from him, and it was, I suppose, straight enough for him to think he had to play at it. He did play at it. Bowler can consider himself a wee bit unlucky, having been smashed before first ball. He's now gone past Banton's outside edge on 3 occasions. I can think of bowlers that I've played against who might have been slightly noisier than this particular bowler is to this particular.
As my old captain Neil Turt used to say, "Have another go, pal. I'm still here."
Yeah.
Turn round.
Faflagoya in bowls. Banton this time does get some bat on ball and punches it out to the cover sweeper for an agreed single, getting off strike. Good idea. 94 for 4. He moves on to 7. Denley on 3.
But you hear about sometimes, someone will an off spinner will beat a batsman on the outside, and you say, "Oh, that's the one that doesn't turn." No, he's tried to turn it, but the skill is in bowling a delivery that is a good delivery, whether it turns or not.
Yeah, but I mean, if you listen to Graham Swan, I'm not suggesting that's a good thing to do, but if one does listen to Graham Swan, he will tell you that certain off breaks just don't turn. Faflagoya in bowls and punched with his back foot, but straight to Bavuma at square cover. That completes the over, and there is no run.
Yeah,
and
natural variation.
Yes, you can call it whatever you like. I mean, he was going to come up with some bullshit phrase, no doubt, because he's that type of man. But certain off breaks just don't grip and turn, and that gives you variation. But I mean, Swanee also had a ball that went away from the right-hander. Moeen Ali's got one, and consequently, you go back to 2 years ago when England played India over here. Moeen Ali got good batsmen out.
He did,
because he can beat them on the left and the inside and the outside.
And he can get a little bit of dip, which Bess certainly in that second innings at Newlands. Bear and I were on the commentary for a lot of that stint, and he was bowling the right length, but he wasn't getting that dip, so it was too easy for South Africa's batsmen to just get forward and defend without being worried about being beaten in the flight.
Shamsi in bowls.
A lot of it goes on
defended, no run.
How how well the side is looking after the ball. If you're keeping one side of the ball shiny, then that will help to create that drift for the off spinner.
Yeah, it's more about how much body you can get into your action and your.
Well, there are many factors. There are many factors involved in that, aren't there? And I do accept, he's 22 years old. A reverse sweep, rather well played by Banton, down to the boundary for one of these.
Now my innings going, great guns. I hit the ball, 4 runs. I hit the ball and it went for 4 runs.
I do like the shape of that shot that he plays, because he's made that look very easy indeed and very natural. But I suppose it is natural to batsmen of his generation, because they're brought up playing that.
He was a schoolboy hockey player, Tom Banton, so it's a skill that's come into the game from that.
Yes,
and he practices it a lot.
Yeah,
clearly.
but I mean, it's just a normal shot for guys of 20 years old. Next ball is on his pads, and he tucks it into the onside, and Schmutz does his well-known impression of running, which is not
like
that
that.
impressive, is it? 99 for 4. And I might just have to make up some commentary now, because we seem to have lost the picture from Newlands.
We were warned there might be a power cut at some point.
Well, we're now looking at a panoramic view of the Newlands ground. So I'll just make it up.
They call it load shedding in South Africa. I don't know whether they've cut Newlands off.
This happened in both of the warm-up games.
Shamsi runs in and bowls, and it's blocked back to him. No, he doesn't. I've just made that up. I'm sorry, guys, but anyway, we'll witter on about spin bowling for a wee while, whilst we hopefully get the picture back from South Africa. 99 for 4 when a picture went down. But I mean, Bess is what, 22?
Yeah.
And consequently, therefore, he has got time to improve. But I can't believe that had Bess bowled that number of overs to, say, Australia or India, their batting lineup wouldn't have been far more proactive.
Well, you look at Labuschagne and Smith, they will always use their feet to spinners, because they want to then become the dominant force in that pairing.
Or somebody for India, Cheteshwar Pujara is the batsman of the Indian team who uses his feet most often to the spinners, and not to be particularly attacking necessarily, but he'll use it to put spinners off their length and then create.
Yeah, to be proactive.
And then you'll see the batsman cut short, and he's brilliant. He's a brilliant player of the cut shot.
But, I mean, I genuinely thought South Africa were woeful in their approach in that particular test innings against Bess. And Van der Dusen, I mean, he got himself into such a pickle against him.
I also think that, regardless of whether you're bowling spin or whether you're bowling seam, you only ever need to move it half a bat.
Correct.
So, these massive turners of the ball, if they turn it a fraction less, would often probably get more wickets.
Yeah. Because you can definitely turn the ball too much.
Philander, he's moved it half a bat for his entire career, and look at his stats. Absolutely incredible.
You're talking about Murali and the Dusra. It took him a long time for it to be effective, because he turned the ball so much with his off break that it was too easy for the. That it was slightly too easy to pick the Dusra, because it had to be on a completely different line. So he had to work out actually how to turn the ball less, which is a really difficult skill.
Sounds like the 100's just come up for England, according to Roger's phone.
So it's all changed whilst we await for the pictures to come back, but we'll be back with you with more cricket hopefully soon.
Yeah, it does look as though Cricinfo are also watching on the TV, so they don't know either. In the meantime, Rihanna.
Yep, you owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills, so please go to patreon.com/GorillaCricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/GorillaCricket.
Who knows what's going on?
I do. England are 100 for 4 after their 20.1 overs. What about that chance off that last ball?
Well, I mean, where was it? Down the leg side?
Yeah, Denley, lucky. Just a half chance, maybe some people would describe it as. But it's you've only missed a ball or two. Denley added another single from this Pekla over, and England are 101 for 4. They might have pushed for 2, but no, these two just getting to know each other, Banton and Denley. But we're back. You're listening to Rog Pineapple on Gorilla Cricket, and I've got the bear for the first time today, or Bear Smuts as I'm going to call you.
Bear Smuts.
And Peshla was in, defended by Banton, who's on 12, Denley 5, and Tony the Bishop will be reading your tweets.
I will indeed.
The reassuring noise of a can opening.
It's after lunch.
It's Bear Smuts. So, Bear Smuts, what do you make of world champs England on the ropes?
Well, yeah, kind of screwed it up, didn't we? I mean, Roy was looking really good and then just slammed one down long on's throat, which was really stupid. But that's the way he plays. It's a one-day international. What can you do? Bairstow looked a bit out of touch. Root ran himself out. Well, actually, Root got sold down the river, didn't he, by Morgan?
Lovely straight drive from Banton. And long on will not have a prayer. Beautiful pedigree stroke from the young Somerset boy for one of these.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
He was right up there, half volley length, but played with a perfectly straight bat just between Denley and the stumps. Really into the ground, hit hard, firmly, and very promisingly for a young Banto here. He's on 16 on his ODI debut. Took him a while to get off the mark, but now he's facing up to Pellegrini again at a straight ball, and he spies a quick single to mid-on, which he accomplishes easily enough. And that's the end of 21 overs, 106 for 4.
Seamus 808 says, please keep telling us how brilliant this English side is, please. Well, we will, but they're slightly up against it at the moment. Dr. Dan has sent a lovely picture of Jason Roy getting England off to a runnable start. Was that the wicket? No, it looks to be playing a fairly solid defensive shot in that picture, but we will retweet that as ever. Messages, that seems an odd reason. That looks like a conversation with Morgan Lennox-Lear.
Well, I'm going to say it before some of the other hot takes. When this is Banto's, this is his coming out series. He's going to do Peterson all over again in South Africa. How about it? He's getting a single on the onside off Shamsi. That's the start of a new over.
Well, interestingly enough, because I was saying almost the opposite. Well, I wasn't saying they would do badly, but I was supporting why Joe Denley is there. I think, for exactly a situation like this, a bit of experience, a young man batting with him.
True, senior pro role.
A man for all seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been tangled up here by Shamsi, who's sort of a half appeal.
That's a dreadful shot.
Left arm over the wicket, and did it hit him on the pad? He was trying to turn it into the onside, and it was a full one. Just played all round it.
Massive leading edge, wasn't it?
No, he missed the bat, hit him on the back pad. It was pitched outside leg. But Shamsi, in this angled approach, is now pitching one on off stump, and then he will get a run into the onside now. Possibly even two. No, he settled for an agreed one.
Well, we saw Banton in New Zealand, didn't we? He did all right out there.
Well, he did. He played in the T20s, but
he
tended to get off to quick starts and get out, though, didn't he? From my
in
recollection.
the last game, he got nearly a 40 or something, didn't he? He looked good for that. But I mean, what else can you do in a T20? You've got to keep going, haven't you?
He shows us a regulation 4 defence now. Maybe slightly beaten in the flight and just pulled out of any attacking shot. Played it back to Shamsi.
I mean, you look at the Kiwis the other night. Yesterday morning versus India. And again, they lost 7 wickets for about 25 runs or something at the end, because everyone just has to keep going. The run rate goes up.
Careless Kiwis. Tabrez rolls his arm over. Oh, he hits him on the pad. He's sure of himself, and so's the umpire. Hit him on the back pad. Spun back from outside off. Banton missed his sweep, and if it's hit him in line,
it's out. If it hasn't, and it's marginal whether it's in line,
yeah,
I reckon.
He's gonna chat to Denley, who advises him to review. Shamsi was convinced. He was sprinting down to celebrate before the finger had gone up. And well, this will be an anxious wait for this young man on debut. 21-year-old in the 22nd over.
I was definitely in. Were you definitely in? I don't know.
It's not a no ball. So he's rolling out a regulation. I don't know if where it hits him though. It's going to be
it's in line. That's the one in line.
It's hit him on the box.
It's him on the box in front of about middle and off, isn't it?
That looks out to me.
That looks well out.
And the bowler, interestingly, was in literally no doubt at all.
No.
He'd already,
and rightly so. I'd be screaming for that one.
And there's no little scratch on the bat to save him either. That's what the next thing they check in the protocol. Has missed wood, although, like I said, maybe clocked him on the box. But this definitely hasn't hit the bat. Please get on with it, process. Thank you. Here it comes. Pitches outside off, hits him out. Umpire's call. You're going to have to go Banto, because that's hitting the top of off stump. And Shamsi has another one. England 108 for 5.
That was bloody rubbish. At least we get to keep the review, eh? I thought it was actually hitting bang in line. So that's a bit of a bonus, the fact that we get to keep the review.
Yeah, I think so. But it was a very good ball by the purveyor of slow left arm wrist spin.
Yeah, and just as I was getting excited about Banton, just shows you the
vagaries of cricket.
Well, and the variety of this attack, I suppose. He fair play to Shamsi for mixing it up. Banton had reverse swept him very competently in his previous over, and he caused a little problem on Denley, and then.
Well, I was going to say we've only had one entry for the GPL. Hombre Nuevo. 547. Bit disappointing in you people out there. I know tests are easier, but have a little bit of a splurge on ODI cricket every once in a while.
Shamsi was off.
Well, he knew, didn't he? He absolutely knew.
Yeah.
Umpire Brathwaite upheld his voracious pleadings.
Somewhere in cricketing heaven, Ellis Achong will be chalking another wicket up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, England down to their number 7 already. And
it's this man.
Yeah.
Is he a batter or bowler? Sam Curran. What's his distinguishing features? Sam Curran. His dad's from Zimbabwe. Sam Curran. And he's beloved by Liz Yates. Sam Curran.
I don't even know what our team is today. I'm gonna have a look. I've just seen all the jingles in there, and oh right, yeah, we're back at one day cricket.
Well, this man, comes into the World Cup winning, the men whose names will live forever. The famous 15, inscribed on tattoos and hearts up and down Albion. But no, it's going to join his big brother for only the second time, I think, in this format. And yes, it's Sammy Curran, fresh from a good test series. Left-handed bat, waits for Shamsi and plays him back down the pitch. Shamsi has 2 for 14 now, 2 crucial wickets, and there's a spring in his step for a very good reason. 108 for 5 after 22.
Okay, so Woke's next. Tom Curran, after that. Chris Jordan. And Matt Parkinson. So are we assuming, is Adil Rashid not fully fit, or is he just being rested?
I think he's mainly rested. They want to have a look at, they're experimenting a bit in this series, I think, aren't they? With some justification, I think.
Well,
it's all about rebuilding now, isn't it?
Shit. We've won a World Cup, and now we can experiment for the next 4 years.
Well, I think you've also got to look at the number of players who will be over 30 by the time 2023 rolls around.
That's
so
true. Got to give
that's
them time.
very much in their thinking that they need to bring on, younger players, and the likes of Parkinson and Saklay Mahmood are very much in that category.
I liked Matt Parkinson T20s in New Zealand. I thought he bowled well. It'll be interesting to see how he goes in an ODI. This looks like a pitch that might suit him. Actually, it's quite slow. Got a bit of grip.
Well, as a new bowler, he bowls it rather quickly onto Denley's pads, who accumulates a single onto the onside.
And
big strapping fella back into the attack.
It's this man.
Domination is the name of the game. In cricket or life, they're both just the same. So go get the guy who can turn the day. Let's play Lungi and Edie. Let's play Lungi and Edie. Are you down for Lungi and Edie?
I think Mogg was really... I'm guessing Mogg is at an age where new romanticism was quite big in his youth.
I'll let you know next week. Or week after next, actually.
3 shrimps take their seats to watch Ngidi come round the wicket to Curran, who defends straight out of the middle straight to cover, no run.
It looked like he was stretching for that, not quite sure how it was going to come off the wicket.
Yeah, Ngidi
kind of prodded at it.
Yeah, I think Ngidi will maybe be asked to cut loose here. He was bowling in the high 80s his early spell. This is his 4th over, and yeah, might just want to test the ticker of this young man. And as we've been saying, there's not a lot of pace in the track, but Ngidi is going to pull full and straight and quickly. It's driven again straight up to mid-off, however, and Curran remains on knot.
Messi Jayers has pointed out, if you watch Denley backing up, it's apparent that, just carelessly, he's often making himself vulnerable to being run out by the bowler.
The old man cat.
Wouldn't that be tedious? Yeah. And what do you think about it, Tony?
I saw Owen Morgan interviewed about it, and he really felt very strongly it was not in the spirit of the game. So I find it a little bit disappointing that it's become a feature at under 19 level, to be honest.
Oh, has it happened again in this one?
Oh yeah, Afghanistan stitched up a Pakistani.
Oh,
when they were getting stuffed anyway. This was defended by Curran, back to mid-on, no run.
I do believe the first one should be a warning. I think it's fine if you can do it as a warning. And I guess you don't take the bails. You just sort of go, you stand there and go, I'm going to run you out next time, and you give the guy a warning. I think it's fair enough. But just to do it off the cuff, because some people just wander out, they're not even fucking aware, you know. I mean, that one last, was it in the IPL when Ashwin took, Butler, wasn't he, man-catted? That was dodgy, and that wasn't one movement. He waited for him to leave the crease and then ran him out, which is fucking dodgy.
That, to me, is cheating or gamesmanship
at
a very high level.
Well, Ngedi's just charging in, focused on the other end, and they give us an offering on the pads of Sam Curran, who gets off the mark comfortably, tucked to deep mid-wicket for Uno. Yeah, well, it's what gets me is the people who rush onto Twitter to say how brilliant it is, and loved. That's equally tedious. It's like who delight in a man-can. So it's just like a stumping. Well, it's not.
No, it's not.
And stay in your crease. Batsman will learn.
It's the same level of gamesmanship as a Trevor Chappell Under Armour in my book. Honestly.
I know. I tend to agree. I mean, it's.
Here's a run to Denley into the onside. The end of Ngedi's over 3 from it. It's Nelson for 5 after 23.
I just think you have to give someone a warning. If someone's doing it, you can quietly say to them. You don't even have to quietly say. You can swear at them and go, "Hey, you're out of the crease." And if you do that again, I'm taking the wicket, and then you'll have no excuse. But to just do it cold without any warning.
No, I agree. Jeff Perkins has given us an ode to Mother Cricket, although I think it's more about the financial aspects of the ICC more than anything else. Oh, Mother Cricket, look for the brickets she gave to those not in the top 3. Took out her commissions and tax remissions and her shipping and handling fee, and so the poor bastards had none.
Oh, that's very good.
Old Mother Hubbard, I guess.
Good on the hook,
yes, I think so.
Shamsi over the wicket to Denley, who's turning him off stump into the onside for just 1, as racing off the boundary was Sapamla. Hasn't got a chance to turn his arm over yet, but looking keen out there in the outfield. And these Proteas will be delighted with themselves at the moment, having inserted England under de Kock's new regime, and a hot day in Cape Town, a good crowd in, and they got the Rugby World Cup now. They want to do one over in the Cricket World Cup champs.
Wow, yeah, but
little extra spice.
I watched them at the World Cup.
Shamsi with it impressive of belly. He bowls a good length. Curran goes back and outside edges at the point, no run.
They were generally a shambles.
But they were. They've got to change things around quickly, and might as well get the kingpins over in your backyard and immediately begin the turnaround. Shamsi will be key to that. He's got 2 for 15, and he rolls out another wristy one that's defended by Curran. Back to him.
Jeff Perkins, there seems to be a conversation, in fact, with Messi Jez. Messi Jez has said the most common emergency at Guerrilla Cricket is the Hendo drank my last beer emergency, which can have unfortunate consequences. Jeff Perkins says it did trigger the War of Stella, which led directly to Brexit, apparently. So that's an interesting combination.
Well, you know.
That was careless.
Hendo's actually bought his own beer today. Shock horror.
Shamsi on off stump. Good turn, and it's covered by Sam Curran, not looking to score off it.
Need a bit of consolidation here, don't we?
Yes, perhaps, but let Shamsi get all over you here. He's so delighted with these wickets. You'd love to see a big pumped up celebration from the well-girthed Tabriz, and this is full driven inside of extra cover, so we'll get a run out to wide long off. Current 2. I like Shamsi. I like to see a bowler of his type.
Yeah,
in the game.
He was getting a lot of ribbing down at Southampton when they played down there.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Why? Just
well,
for being a bit of a fatty?
South Africa were getting pumped, yeah.
Right.
And he did a cut horrible.
Oh, a pitch just down the leg side and missed everything De Kock didn't take it cleanly. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Signaled.
You get upset when that happens, but it's one of these.
Yeah.
Wide.
Then he gets that left leg quite. He was very classical in his technique, very sideways on, and doesn't maybe open himself up as best he can to these onside scoring shots. You see his front leg goes across and then widens out again, and he will get a run off the back foot to take his score to 10. England 115 for 5.
The Man Who Sold the World. David Bowie song, wasn't it? Although Lulu, Nirvana and a few other people did it.
Yeah.
It says, hey Guerrilla Cricket, will you cover or just update the tri-series in Nepal?
Yes, we can do
between Nepal, Oman and the USA.
I should be delighted to.
CWC League 2. So we will give you updates on that. Roger's on the case as we speak. But is it happening now, or is that something for the future?
No. Yes, Germany.
Here we go.
172 for 1. Oh, that's the women's, yeah.
We got that. That one came in. Back in Cape Town, and Geady's bowling Denley, who defends back to him. Yeah, if it's not yeah, tell us more. When is it happening? If it's happening now, I'll give you the score. If it's happening in the future and we can, I don't know, it would be hard push to squeeze that in. We can't promise anything.
If it's happening in the future, we'll encourage you to put a bet on who's likely to win.
Right.
See if come to our side for that.
Live current games are only
I
this
can't
one.
find it.
And Pakistan under 19s, who got 172, playing India under 19s.
Ooh, only 172.
Yeah,
or is that,
that's all. All out.
Not so great for them.
India are 56 for none.
Geady pulls a short one to Denley, who swivel pulls out to Razi on the mid-wicket fence for 1.
Germany women got 172 for 1 in a result. Oman women were all out for 57. Cricket, Australia 11, 179. England Lions 108 for 6. That was on February the 4th. That must have finished today. That's pretty good by the Lions, isn't it? Being a Cricket Australia 11, unless they're a shit Cricket Australia 11. I suppose.
Well, Linux Leo, by the way, just says, "Yay, the beer on Jingles." Oh, sorry, the bear on Jingles. No, it says the beer on Jingles. It did say the beer. I read it right.
And Geady round the wicket with a slower one, driven straight to cover by Curran. He spotted that it was slower and tried to give it everything, but couldn't beat the man who'd long barriered it.
Has Lehman got a son? He's captain of Australia. Jake, okay. He got golden duck.
Yeah. Played at Yorkshire, didn't he, Jake Lehman?
For a while. Cameron Boyce, he's in their side. Don't really recognise that. I think it's Harris is.
Oh, Marcus Harris, the top
Marcus
scorer.
Harris, the top scorer. But what was he batting at 3s?
Oh no, he didn't top score. Someone called Crone got 66. Anyway, here's Ngidi on the middle stump, and Curran will take a quick single.
Must be a
mid-on.
Must be a Xavier Crone. Of course it is with an X. Could only be a Xavier, couldn't it? He's in the under 23s.
Yes, cricket, all over the world.
Indeed. Well, Armchair Cricket Podcast says, just tuning in, England struggling to get off Test match high, a la Ashes series previously, question mark.
Yeah, after winning a Test series, from being 1-0 down and winning it 3-1, you're going in a pretty high. I don't think anyone gives a shit about this, do they?
We do.
Currently.
Geady with a really slow one. Denley can't get a run.
I mean, it's just I think the first game is always difficult, isn't it? I think in an ODI series, you think, we just played Test matches. Now it's this whole change of gear.
I think everything needs context, and there is some context to this in how do they react to being world champions. Remember, Owen Morgan says he doesn't want the team ever using that phrase about themselves. And how do they go about integrating new players for the future whilst they have a bit of time to do it? So if you think of this as the beginning of the road to 2023.
Yeah,
and also a huge period of change for South Africa as well, remember.
Another slower one. Denley tries to angle it past the keeper, and he'll get a run because De Kock threw it hit the stumps, and clever work from Sam Curran realised that he could get through, and 3 from that over means England are 118
Is this
for 5.
not the first ODI that England have played since the World Cup final?
205 days ago.
Well,
so I had missed that. Morgan said that we're not going to allow ourselves.
Absolutely.
What? Come on.
Come on. You should
enjoy
it.
We're
world champions. We're world champions. Everybody.
That's a real.
What he said was he was very happy or delighted, as are all the team, for the rest of the world to call them that. But I think he's just avoiding, the big I am complacency view. you know, I wouldn't knock the way he's captained the team. If that's the way he thinks, and that's the way he keeps their feet on the ground, and that's the way he keeps them focused, well, frankly, good luck to him.
I can see where he's coming from. But I say don't say it, because how does that make the fans feel?
Well, I don't think he's deriding. He's not at all. Hang on.
Well, Shamsi on outside of stump, no run. Denley defending.
I don't think he's in any way denigrating their position as world champions. He's making the point. He's thrilled for them to be called that. He just doesn't want the team going around referring to themselves as that, because, frankly, your next game's the most important. And I think that's not a bad mentality to have.
Yeah, but I would just keep it in private. I do agree. I'm sort of on the same page, but anyway, it's turned into the onside for Joe Denley. I still think it's all an inside job, Morgan, the way he ran out Joe Root there. Now he's won the World Cup for England. Now Morgan's going to have a little fun and and then supplant his real home country.
He needs to start to get some runs for himself, remember? I mean, in Pal, didn't he get... He got a golden duck in the first one, didn't play in the second one.
He's a skipper, he's safe, isn't he?
Well, I didn't say he's not safe.
He's not going to be around in the next one-day World Cup.
Not yet committed.
Don't you dare call him a world champion skipper. This one's driven out to...
Well, a world champion skipper.
We can call him that. He just doesn't want to call himself that.
Because we're outside cricket. I see. Fielded by cover, no run. Curran is not really getting going. 3 off 12. Doesn't want to get too frustrated. Shamsi has him on the rack slightly here. This one again is good length. He goes back to it. Can't get around the onside. Shamsi controlling things.
I will say it doesn't look an easy pitch to score on. I mean, 250 will be a competitive score here. Yeah, maybe even 240.
Shamsi, another cricketer that not unlike the Bear. He's a left arm spinner. He's got a bit of facial hair.
Bearded, yeah.
And he's got a bit of carriage as he... Very full, driven up to long on. It's all a compliment.
Oh, well, thanks.
These guys are aspiring to be like you.
Well, I'd say a little carriage is quite good, you know.
Yeah, tell me what it.
And the whole trunk.
Beer in one hand whilst bowling with his left would be impressive.
And a 40-foot Arctic on the back is more like me, but you know.
But can you pick him? Is the answer. If you're facing him, could you pick the googly and the leg break? Let's see if I can pick this one. That was a googly, I think. It was tucked off middle stump by Joe Denley, who gets a single to end the 26th over. England are 121 for 5, and I have to go, so I'll bid you.
Are we swapping now?
Right, yeah. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you soon.
Jason, wherever you are, you'll need to do a spot of catching up.
Rock on in. Oh, that was a bit of a lax shot, wasn't it? It was a bit late on that. Tony's going to untangle himself slowly but surely, dropping everything. Oh well, I had to order another new microphone to replace this one. There's Grant Smut up on the balcony, hoping he can finally get another victory against England. Oh, we've got to change of bowling. Pamela is coming on. I'm guessing that's not actually how you say his name. So I'm talking to myself because these other two are just wibbling around. We have a change in the bowling, and it's going to be this man.
Oh, it's interesting.
For greatness by great man. Will he fulfill or never be heard of?
Lutus Sepamla's first delivery is carved through point by Sam Curran. But it was only for a single.
Two.
So, interesting.
Wasn't it?
Did he get 2 for it? No, he got a single. There it was.
Single, yeah.
Yes, it took me a while to get into the central commentary missionary position seat, as I somehow completely knotted every single piece of wire around my legs. And had I attempted to get straight here, I probably would have
pulled it all out and ruined it.
Well, that would probably ruined me more particularly. Dived into the sea head first.
As long as the kit's all right, Tone, I'm fine.
But Sir Pamela is going to be in again. He's right arm around the wicket, flicked off his legs by Curran, and he will get another single. So it was actually Denley who got that one. Denley's on 15. Sam Curran, who's newish to the crease, he's faced 15 for his 5. England, who started very nicely, a 50 partnership with Ryan Bairstow, and everything looked to be swinging. But I think this wicket is just holding a little bit, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
not really coming through.
It's pretty dry. It's turning a lot.
And England have struggled, so we're very much looking forward to Parkinson as Sipamla comes over the wicket to the right-handed Denley, and Denley, quick as a flash, is nicely, tidily in behind it.
And I think, you know, actually, Parkinson bowls a similar pace to Shams. He gives it a lot of air, a bit of loop, and seems to be taking the pitch quite nicely. So
Shams
looks
is
like
just a little bit quicker in the air.
well,
but not very much.
Not very much, but I mean, it's the same similar sort of proper loop and stuff. It's not particularly flat, which is good to see.
Sipamla's in again. He's got a good rolling action, and this one is flicked, but flicked straight to mid-wicket, so there's no run. 123 for 5. England just looking to see what we can find out about young Sipamla. He's from Port Elizabeth, 21 years
I was
old.
gonna say, he doesn't look like very old.
No, he's 21, although he's the upper end of 21. Has played for South African Eastern Province. Made his obviously this is his ODI debut, but his T20 debut was against Pakistan February this year in Johannesburg. Took none for 23 and didn't bat, so it's a fairly uneventful-ish game for him. And that one is, the bat is dropped upon it by Denley, and again there is no run. South Africa won that by 7 runs. Made his first class debut for Eastern Province in January 2017. So in all senses a young and new talent, which is great. I think it's wonderful to see names we don't know and players we're less familiar with, and seeing how they fare at you know, the very top end of the game. He turns at the top of his run, his right arm over and in, and pulled away though to mid-wicket. That is absolutely caned by Joe Denley, and there's no doubt that will be 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That was a nice shot. It's a pretty poor ball actually, wasn't it? Half tracker, just sat up nicely. Said, hit me! And he did.
He did. It was. So he's not really yet found his rhythm and line, has Sipamla. He's gone for a couple of singles, and then that one he did drop short. And Joe Denley, the much mid-line, you see, I'm starting to feel quite sympathetic.
Well, I was
Denley.
always sympathetic, but then my sympathy died as the series went on in the tests. He had my sympathy right at the beginning of the test series, and he's had it for quite a while because he's done all right. But he didn't seem to kick on at all in this test. In fact, it kind of got worse.
Well, yeah, that
and
might
you
be
know,
the
it
case.
does. You know, Endo's point about he always hits the fielders more than anyone else.
Shamsi's going to be continuing, and this one's flicked away to short leg, and they will get themselves a single. So it's 1 for Curran. Denley back onto strike.
We're really 20 minutes behind on.
Yeah, it was. We got into a number of conversations, so you may have to do some galloping.
Just gallop past 10 minutes and then start from there.
There's some interesting ones as well, so we'll give you space, Jason, at the end of this over. It's difficult with Shamsi. Then the left arm wrist spin. That's nicely just dabbed around the corner, but there is a man down there at fine leg. It's John Smuts.
It's a leg by.
So good. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a leg by, and the long leg, which was John Smuts. So good they named him twice. Did the fielding. Shamsi's got one of those actions where he kind of ducks his head at the last minute as well, doesn't he?
Another frog in a blender.
I wouldn't say it's quite that bad, but it is a bit whirly. As forward comes Curran, this is pushed away to mid-off. They'll get another single, 130 for 5, England. Over the last 5 years, I think this ground in ODIs has averaged about 5.5 and over.
Well,
so
the
around about 260, 270s.
Well, the average first inning score in a day-night game flashed up a couple of overs ago.
Oh, did it?
And it was 249.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, so 2 flicked away to mid-on, and there'll be another single, 131 for 5. Shamsi's, he's entertaining. I'm liking the look of him. Made his debut versus Australia in Guyana, actually. Not the most... well, he took 1 for 36. Got Glenn Maxwell LBW as his first ODI wicket, which is no mean scalp, I suppose. That one swept, and he's bowled around his legs. Sam Curran has been bowled around his legs, looking to sweep. Shamsi has another wicket. That's his third. And England just are stuttering and stumbling, I'm afraid.
You flipping muppet!
Yep. Bowled around his legs, sweeping. And Shamsi, who's proving to be a handful. The one consolation for England might be they'll be intrigued to see how young Parkinson gets on a wicket that may well be there to assist him if Shamsi's doing so well. But will he have enough runs to play
exactly.
with?
He won't be that intrigued if there were 160 all out, would he?
Shall we give Jason the chance to have a little run? Go for it, Jason.
Message just says, things you expect to hear on Guerrilla Cricket number 225. The ball misses Wood, that does get him on the box. Grit and Grat says, and there's no better start on a dull day of work to cheer things up than Guerrilla Cricket commentators. And a bonus, Bishop in a hoodie. High five to that.
Bishop
Evil
in a
Scooter
hoodie.
says, there's a quality celeb appeal from Shamsi for one of his previous wickets. I'll give it 4 out of 5 for Stuart Broads.
Mm-hmm.
The only criticism is he took the wicket, which is a serious celeb appeal infraction.
Well, clearly.
Banton suited to opening, maybe with Roy Bairstow going in at 5, says Lawrence Jameson. Leah says, Tin Curran, the Bear, 2020. Or the Beer, 2020.
Yeah, well.
Arthur Patricia says, fashionably late joining you. England bad, SA good, bit of both.
Thrown a few wickets away, not been great.
England looking rusty.
Very
pitch
rusty.
that the ball's not really coming onto the bat, Arthur Shear.
Perko says, apparently Tony Bishop thinks he's getting out of that encounter alive, whatever that encounter was.
I think that's my meeting with Mog. I just keep saying, I am thoroughly looking forward to it. There was a whole discussion on Twitter.
You better
about
get a
axes.
haircut and get his suit cleaned.
Who, Mog or me?
No, Mog's telling you.
Oh, right, okay, I will.
This man's in.
Indeed, it's Chris Wokes.
He's on Instagram, and he's a Twitter fan. On the Ashes tour.
There's a slip and a leg slip for Wokes. And he's able to just step back and steer this to cover. I wouldn't even say he steered it to cover, he sort of dobbed it very gently in the general direction of cover. And there was no run.
Perko says, that suit and haircut has served him well, though so far entirely in court.
I'm still not sure. Are we talking about me or Mog here?
You.
I'm the one who's supposed to wear the suit, or Mog is?
No, you are. You're going to meet Sir Mog. What are you on about?
So I'm the one who has to dress up for the occasion.
Absolutely.
I will, if that's what I need.
And
I do have.
says,
sorry, go on. You better finish.
Given the history in cricket of batsmen being amateur gentlemen and bowlers being professional working class proletarians, this is clearly a class issue where fairness is defined as whatever benefits the bourgeoisie. That's a bit deep.
Well, it was rather. As Sipamla is in again. Flicked again off his legs very nicely by Denley. There is a man down there on the deep mid-wicket boundary, though, so it will restrict Denley to 2, I would think, looking at the speed it went. Yes, it did. Sorry, it was Wokes, I beg your pardon. So Wokes is away and off the mark.
Grits and Grat says, hashtag, I'd buy a Bishop-branded hoodie today.
I think, who's your it's a Frank Turner hoodie. This one, it's got the lyrics to Pirate Ships and Bob Dylan on the back, rather bizarrely.
That is, I'll remember that song in a minute. I've told you before what it is.
Yes, you did, as this one. Forward comes Joe Denley, drops the bat on that. There is no run. Better, tighter line from Sipamla, who's gone for 8 off the 8 balls actually of ODI cricket he's delivered so far. He's been a little bit loose, but who knows, a wicket and the world will feel different for him.
Talking about Mankads, Aidan says, I once umpired an under 10s game where a smart-ass kid did it to a lad standing stationary with a confused face. I just put the bails back on and said, we won't be counting that.
Once again, that was in. Sipamla was in. Bat was dropped on it. There was no run.
Say that again. So some adult man catted a kid.
No, he was the umpire, so he just denied the appeal effectively because the guy was still in his ground looking at him with a confused face.
Yes, you don't. See, my point of view on that was you just don't want to see it creeping into young age group cricket.
Well, no, and it does.
It's a
that's the
rocky
thing.
road. Sir Pamela's in again, right arm over, flicked again, nicely off his legs by Joe Denley, down to backward square leg. I think that's Peflaqueo with his little goatee.
But
who's,
players
patrolling that region.
But you see, I seem to remember having a couple of kids' games, and you can imagine kids doing it, desperate to win, but I do seem to remember it was a warning when it happened.
Yes, I remember that rule. You were allowed, you could warn the batsman once, even if you flicked the bails off.
There's nothing in the law to say you have to warn him. It is just considered good manners too.
Well, exactly, that's the thing.
But there is absolutely nothing in the rules to say you need to warn him for the first occurrence.
Yeah,
There's nothing in the
know.
law to say if you're stood to get on a crowded train, you can't muscle in front of an old lady. But people don't do it, you know.
Well, I do.
Well, you, as forward
of course I don't.
As forward comes Wokes, pushes this to mid-off, and the old lady jostling bear on Jingles has retracted that statement immediately. But no, you get the point. I mean, it's not actually an illegal thing to do. However, it's just something that one does not do.
Absolutely, you know.
And that, to me, is this whole area of man-cadding. It's never really justified. England dressing room seems happy enough. There's smiles on faces.
Yep.
134 for 6, though. They're up against it.
Perko replying to Mogg says, "I'm not here to sue Tony Bishop, but to bury him."
Oh Lord, there's even more worrying. That's guided down to third man for a single. Denley moves is on to 23. Chris Wokes is
It's all right.
Just has the 1 of his 3.
If we never hear from you again, at least we know where to send the police, you know.
Well,
to your phone.
To my
to Bear's phone.
track down Mogg.
It's the sound of police.
It's I'm sure we're going to go to a quiet cocktail bar for
for a sword fight,
a couple of Bloody Marys. I do. Well, listen, Mogg, if he's going to get his axes out, unfortunately I won't be allowed to travel with it. I do have a First World War sword stick, of which I'm rather proud. It's my granddad's.
A sword stick? What is it?
It was literally like a walking stick, except when you
with a sword
pull out
inside.
the middle, it's got a long sword in the middle. Next time you come over, I'll show it to you. It's pretty scary. It's been used in anger.
Oh, nice.
I don't like to ask too much about its history, but I think it might have a sculpt
bloody
or two.
history.
As Shamsi rolls in and flicked away by Wokes to backward square leg, and there is just it's a dot ball. They don't take a single, so England rest on 135 for 6. I think that Park score of 270 odd is
well, 249 is some way off. I was going to say 20 overs to go. 5 and over, 100, 235 would be nice. 235, 240 from here would be pretty good, I think.
Over the wicket again. This one is just pushed straight to mid-wicket. No run.
Message says, Shamsi's bowling beautifully. England will need to learn to deal with this if they're going to survive in Sri Lanka.
Well, again, interesting.
Different game, different gravy.
I'm very much liking the look of Sharez Shamsi.
There's lots of
He's
love
going
to
to be in
Shamsi.
again to Chris Wokes, who is forward, and this one is flicked past mid-wicket down to long on, and they will take a single. So England move on to 136 for 6, but those runs have been hard fought. It all looked like it was going to be comparatively easy going for a while.
Well,
didn't
it didn't it?
At 51 for none.
Well, Roy was looking really good, wasn't he? And he just spammed it down long on's throat.
Yeah, but that again was a ball that just held up enough that he
but I mean, he hit it pretty reasonably well, and he knew long on was out.
Shamsi's
So
in again, pitches that outside the right-handers off stump, looking to obviously bring the ball back to him. But Denley's too old, too wily, too wise, and too solid, and there's no run.
Oh, I'm going off in 2 balls. Who's coming to replace me?
You're going off in 2 balls.
Yeah, but I've actually been here for 10 overs, and you had a switch over when Roger left, didn't you?
Oh, so I'm actually staying on.
Yeah, you're staying on.
I'm getting a sort of a
We
bonus
have
spell.
one more further person to join us when they remember.
And this one is flicked away nicely by Denley to mid-wicket. They will take a single. 137 for 6. 1 ball left of this Shamsi over. Yes, 3 for 26 off what is very nearly 8 overs. He's got 1 ball left of his 8th over. And England have found him a little hot to handle. And he's still got another 2 overs after this one, of course. It's Manny has
He's
appeared.
going to replace me. That should be interesting.
And this one is pushed straight to mid-off. Is Manny, has he been to the Bishop School of Jingle Mastery?
No, he's
Oh, yeah. Because if you've actually failed the Bishop School exam, then God knows what we're going to get.
DJ Manny. Right. Aidan says, not only is he named twice, but according to ESPN Quick Info, JJ's middle name is Trevor.
I believe it is. We're Mr. Smuts we're talking about, are we?
George Young says, I think I have a new favourite bowler in Shamsi. He's a lot of fun to watch.
He is. Yeah, he is.
Beijing Ducks says, whilst I appreciate the Mankad dismissal in the cases where the batsman is generally stealing a run, I absolutely find it disgusting when the bowler is trying to manipulate it by deception. Discuss.
Sir Pamela is going to continue. That one is just guided to backward point. No run.
I
Hello,
think-
Manny.
Good afternoon, all.
How's the brewing business?
Going nicely, thank you.
I'm
Yeah, very good
delighted
indeed.
to hear that.
No, we're getting a bit of traction, which is good. But I think the cricketing point that just made by your Twitter is a good one. I think there is a distinct difference between if you're dozy backing up, but if there's deception involved, it's a different kettle of fish altogether.
Yeah, but even if you're well, yes, that's an interesting distinction as Sir Pamela's in, and that one climbs actually a little bit past Denley, who looked like he was shaping to pull, and then at the sort of dropped the bat at the last minute, and it was through to Quentin de Kock behind the stumps, no run. The current run rate only just a tickle over 4.5 for England. So they really have found it hard work. Effectively, they've lost 6 for 80 odd, haven't they?
Yes, I think they've been a little bit slow as a group to understand the difficulty of batting on this wicket and what a good score might be.
Very young and fresh-faced Sir Pamela is in, and good straight ball, perfect length on off stump, and Denley defends. So again, there is no run. That run rate drops below 4.5. So it won't be easy for England because they haven't got the wickets in hand, Manny, to kick on with. Have they?
They haven't. But you just feel with this, because it is the ball is sticking in the surface. You know, 240 might, or even 230 might be defendable if you can get.
Yep. Got to get to that though.
You have indeed.
Sir Pamela is in again, and that one is cut, but cut straight to point, where I believe that is the pocket rocket figure of the one and only Temper Bavuma, who does the fielding, and there is no run.
Lots of tweets about Mankading coming in.
Excellent.
It's clearly an emotive subject.
We'll feel free.
Linux D says, I remember the parents whining on Twitter about the fact their crotch spawn were warned multiple times about backing up and then being mankaded multiple times. Message says, it's not a rocky road letting young cricketers play by the laws, Tony. The laws are perfectly clear and kids need to be taught them early. If they are not taught the laws early, then it becomes a slippery slide.
I agree with that. But
okay, as that one is full, and Sir Pamela was looking for the Yorker and dug out.
But there is
by Denley, no run.
I do beg my. There is a difference between a bowler running up to bowl, not into his action, and running.
Who has no intention of delivering a ball.
No. And somebody who goes through his action pretending he's going to holds onto the ball and then flicks off the bails, which has happened. A noted Indian spinner comes immediately to mind.
Yeah, Mr. Ashwin, indeed.
Yes, that was disgusting, and that should be banned.
As Sir Pamela is going to conclude his third over, and it's pulled nicely by Denley backward of that square leg umpire. There is a man down there, and they will just take a single. So, having been a tad loose, Sir Pamela's third over has gone just for that one single. So he has settled into his work quite nicely. Well done him. And 138 for 6. England after 31.
Chris Paul says, I mankaded someone aged 10 when I was 10 too. I had warned him twice though, and he still went mental at me. Batsmen are weird.
Well,
also,
but again,
just stay in the bloody crease.
Well, there's
it's
an
not hard.
No, that I think we are all.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. I think we're all agreed with that. Now, I wouldn't necessarily have given him 2 warnings. There's a difference between that and pretending to bowl, hold on to the ball, and that's just a natural reaction from a bowler, from a batsman thinking that the bowler's about to release the ball. I'm entitled to go. The bowler holding onto the ball and whipping off the bails. That's a different kettle of fish altogether.
Well, John Trevor Schmutz is bowling now to Joe Denley. and he was hit. I think it was pitched a little bit too high. There's a little moment of excitement from both de Kock and Trev, John Trev, and it was a huge inside edge apart from anything else. So he's in again around the wicket, the left armour Smuts, and forward comes Denley. No run. It's away to Babula.
This is a good move to Denley, because as we found in the Test series, you find it hard to manipulate the ball and work it around it slightly.
Well, that's right. Smuts is in. This one is a little bit short, and Denley can wait for it and carve it away, but carve it away straight through to extra cover. So just the single. These runs are really hard to come by for England. And where they have looked to open their shoulders, the ball's not come onto the bat, and they've got themselves out in the process, as indeed did Jason Roy, who we're seeing now. So 139 for 6. It's one of those situations, Manny, isn't it, where Denley and Wokes need to push the run rate on, but no, they also have to stay there. As forward comes Wokes.
Yeah,
there's no run.
They sort of caught between the rock and the hard place, but you'd hope they're both experienced enough cricketers.
You make as this one again is waited for outside of the off stump by Wokes, guided down to deep cover, and they will take a single. He's an opening batsman as well by trade, isn't he?
Well, he's
played, John Trev.
I've seen a lot of him playing T20 domestically, where he opens the batting.
Yeah, so
he gets on with it.
He's clearly a talented package. Around the wicket he comes, forward on the drive comes Denley, but Smuts. I don't quite, is away to his left of field. I don't quite see the Bear link to him though. Where is the? Is it just the fact he's
the stature?
Is he of the chunky school?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, he's gone heavy on the chapatis.
Because I mean, there's no beard, or he's not sort of heavily facially haired.
Well, I suppose it's sort of rotund.
I think the Bear would be quite happy to be compared to John Smuts. He's quite athletic.
And also, yeah,
the Bear. I agree with you.
Well, also the fact he's a left armour.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay,
I suppose that's a connection.
He's a chunky left armour.
Chunky left armour.
There you go. There is the similarity right there.
But I think these two batsmen, you'd hope, are experienced enough to say to themselves, well, let's take this deep.
22-year-old Sir Pamela's going to continue. This one's pushed down leg, though, and through to de Kock. There is no run. And given a wide. Well, of course it would be, because he flapped the bat, did Chris Wokes. I've got to get out of Test match mode and into one-day mode, haven't I?
It's difficult, isn't it?
And there was again, of course, it was down leg side, equals a well-received and much-needed free run for England. They'll need those, the way things are going. He's going to be in again, is Sir Pamela from the Kelvin Grove end, and this one is guided to deep backward point, and it's another single. England knocking them up in ones and twos, slowly, inexorably, but not exactly excitingly.
No, but
when was the last boundary, in fact? A lifetime ago.
A long time ago. This is the boring middle overs, as you described them.
Well, almost it's got to be now. I mean, the situation of the game has forced them to do this. I'm not sure that they've got an option. They must say to this pair, must say to themselves, let's take it to the 45th over.
So Pamela's in to Denley, and Denley has a little wifty waft at that, and it's beaten him and is through to Quentin de Kock. Yeah, I looked at the rotors that were sent out last night, and I realised I was down for the third slot in both innings. And that was you could take that two ways.
Do you think you're a natural number 3?
Well, you could take that two ways. Either it's the boring middle overs, bugger all's going to happen, we'll let Tony do it, or you could take it as it's the boring middle overs, bugger all's going to happen, we need something to make it more lively, let's get Tony on the case. I wonder what was in Hendo's head. As forward comes Denley, and this is again just pushed to cover, no run.
I think you're overthinking this, Tony. I think our glorious leader just chucked names in a hat and randomly picked them.
Yes, there might be an element of that, of course, as well. Yeah, you just never know.
It's also who can get here at the right time as well.
Well, yeah.
Although
I got a lion on top of a lion today. It was all very good.
At 5 minutes before the start, and everybody was here. And I thought, wow, this is a bit of a surprise.
There continue to be some broadcast difficulties, but it's fortunately back as Sir Pamela's in. Denley drives through extra cover, and there is that boundary between cover and extra cover. The man on that Cover boundary won't get there, and England have their first boundary since Adam was a lad. Beautifully played as well.
Whilst they're retrieving the ball, Jeff Perkins says, "Watch out for those axes of evil, Tony Bishop." And Bear, good luck for setting the cops on the trail of someone called Mog.
Yes. It's,
and Perko has come in and sent us a Bishop hoodie, which I'll show you after this.
oh Lord, I'd like to see that picture, as that one is guided away through cover, but there is a man down there, and it will just be a single. So 6 off the over, or 7 actually, including the wide. This is the Bishop hoodie, is it?
Bishop hoodie with the crosses on the
oh, that's rather good.
hoodie bit.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about the dancing people underneath though.
As I hope it's not live. I hope it's
No,
not.
no,
those
no,
are
just
that,
replays.
that picture. Do you remember the who was a Rowan Atkinson character? Blackadder, one of the first series with the lady who has the 2 crosses on her shoulders. As that one is flicked up and over mid wicket by Wokes, so they should get 2 for that. And they do, and it will move England's total on to 149 for 6. It's the end of that Sir Pamela over. None for 20 for him. 149 for 6 England.
Message here says, the Bishop School of Jingle Mastery is an interesting concept. Presumably a pass is given to anyone who can actually sit in a chair.
well, Manny apparently failed, so I don't know quite how he managed to fail that.
And
There's a long list of exams that I've failed, pal.
That's just one. That's just one.
Let me
Jeff Perkins.
I've failed better exams than your one.
Yeah, indeed.
Jeff Perkins' response was, bishopric jingling is an acquired skill. Pun on choir.
Oh, very good. Yes, I'm with it. Yeah.
Beijing Duck says, play by the laws, die by the spirit of the game. The Mancad,
we're back onto the Mancad discussion.
And there's an easy solution to an Ashwin conundrum, says Linux Lear. Isn't there, Manny? Just stay in your crease until the ball is delivered.
Yeah, you can do that, but it's the element of deception that I think is unpalatable.
I think we're all agreeing.
In that particular case, I thought it was poor umpiring. He could have stepped in. He could have called it a dead ball had he wanted to. He didn't, and I think he should have done. I absolutely agree. If you get dozy batsmen trying to cheat, going outside their crease, all for Mancadding, but not in those circumstances, because I think it's only fair and reasonable. You teach children to back up, so the kids going to back up, and you get slightly disappointed if they don't, and yet, at what point are you then saying you can start backing up? When the batsman's about to hit the ball.
It's changed a lot in the last 5 years. That's various changes to the laws of cricket.
Yeah, but there should be, in my view, a further change to the laws of cricket. You're not missing any cricket. It's a break for drink, so we can witter on.
It is indeed. Witter away.
But I think that there should be a further change, and it should be the spirit of cricket. I think is a load of bollocks, because it causes more problems than it solves. There were conversations, I remember, in my youth of you should walk when you nick it. I mean, that went down really well in Australia, clearly. But it also, it led to hypocrisy, because I can think of one ex-England captain who was apparently a man of God, who, when he smashed it to first slip, would walk off. But
David Shepherd?
But of his era, who would thin nick it to the keeper and stood there, and the umpires were thinking, well, he's a walker, he couldn't have nicked it, and he stood there. His name rhymes with Bolin Bowdry.
Well, right, okay.
And he definitely got away with a lot of that. So I think I don't believe in the spirit of cricket. I think that should be ripped up, and I think there should be clarity. But I would tweak the regulation, and I would be, if a bowler does, if there's an element of deception in it, i.e. just holds on to the ball, he cannot. The umpire has to call dead ball, and the batsman cannot then be run out.
Well, I'm going to take issue with you on one thing there, but I will wait for the cricket to take over first, as John Trevor Smuts comes around the wicket to Joe Denley, who just pushes the ball back to him. England stay on 149 for 6. We are 1 ball into the 34th over. as Smuts is in again. This one may well get a single. No, it's straight to mid-wicket. And unlike the yes-no go-back Root Morgan situation, these two seem to know precisely what they're doing and don't even consider a run in that instance. In comes Smuts again, drops this one short. Denley waits, cuts though to deep cover, will just get himself a single. So Smuts continues to prod and to prod and to use a little bit of movement from the wicket that's really making it hard work, but it is the 150
and to
up for
vary his
England.
length, because I mean that's fired into the pitch and it's stuck. But the way they play it, you can only ever get a single out of it now. It's limiting the amount of runs you can get.
No, he's bowled nicely as forward he comes. Wokes back to the bowler, no run.
And there
Just
was
the
a good
single so
article,
far.
I think it was in the Telegraph a couple of days ago, about how they used cutting the ball to the man on the boundary to manage the run rate.
Indeed. Forward comes Wokes. This one is driven, but driven to long off. Beflequeo does the fielding. It's another single for England. 151 the total limps rather sorrily along to.
I'd like to see both of them just shaped to come down the wicket, not necessarily come down the wicket, but
in comes Beflequeo, and forward is Denley. There is no run, so Denley's on 32, Wokes on 7, England 151 for 6 after 34 overs.
I mean, if you're coming down the track, you don't have to play the big shot, and I would suggest this is a wicket which is very difficult to play the big shot. But coming down the track, you can pick up the singles and possibly twos as well, just by showing intent. And maybe this is the time now, because they're both in a wee bit, these two batsmen, and if they can tick it over. 250 is not out of the equation, and I think that could be a difficult chase on this wicket.
Messenger says he reckons 210 is about power on this pitch. I think that's probably on the low side slightly.
Well, from where England are, he may have a point. From where they were at 51 without loss, I think England would be disappointed, but I take his point for sure.
Martin White says, no bashing the bishop on guerrilla cricket. Well, not in front of the camera anyway.
Buren Hendricks, he's number 23 or 4. He's taken up the attack. He's bowling to Chris Wokes, who waits and steers this to point. And Temba Bavuma's the man there, and there's no run.
You can have his jingle if you want.
Oh, we'd love his jingle, but Buren.
The Saffers are reeling and can't get a break. Their pacemen are injured, they hurt and they ache. Dale Steyn hurt his shoulder, so they're short of bowler Hendricks. And Hendricks
is in.
Hendricks is in.
And indeed he was in. And he was in, and it was steered away for a single by Joe Denley. By Chris Wokes, I beg your pardon. Down to deep backward point, as we're having a good look at the brewery. That'll be of interest to you, Manny, I'm sure. A man in the brewing trade.
Yeah, slightly bigger
organisation than yours.
Than ours. Currently.
It's a bit further away than you think as well.
It is. Right,
it's on the other side of the railway lines.
In comes Hendricks, and that one is through to Quentin de Kock. Did you know, Manny, because you're a man who knows the brewing trade, European beer was first introduced in 1652 in South Africa? Not that surprising when you think about the history of South Africa, I suppose.
We brought back white wine.
The first big brewery there was 1820, opened by Jacob Leerstadt, and it became a National Heritage Site in 1995.
What, this particular brewery?
This brewery, yes, very much so. As that one is, Hendricks is in, and Denley dabs it to backward point, no run. It was, of course, SAB, but was taken over by AB InBev, who basically pretty much own everything.
It would appear,
in, I think, 2016. But so it's got some history, some timeline to it. I don't know if have you been to Newlands?
I have. Yeah,
did you do the brewery tour?
I did. We didn't have time to do the brewery, sadly.
As forward comes Denley, that's away to covers. They will take a sharp single. 153 for 6.
I like that bit of intent. Just drop it and go. I mean, that's the sort of shot you need on these type of wickets. It's difficult to play the big shots. There have been few boundaries as a result. Just mess the bowler's line up. Maybe come down the wicket to him, or literally just drop it at your toes and both go.
Yeah, well, if the boundaries are hard to come by, it goes without saying that you need to take your ones and twos and be sharp about doing it, which is kind of the territory England are in at the moment. As Hendricks is in, that one is waited for, and it's carved away by Wokes. But as we've been saying, it's not exactly it speeds away, but wasn't exactly easy to get away off the bat, and it's just another single.
Well, it's so slow, isn't it? It's very difficult to hit that ball anywhere behind the wicket because you're through the shot, and almost it's got to go out to that sort of cover sweeper area. So, in many respects, just literally just dropping the ball at your feet and annoying the bowlers. Because nothing annoys a bowler more than if he thinks he's bowled a perfectly good ball and you need to steal a single. Bowlers have that sort of mentality, whereas if they bowl a rank bad ball and you hit it for 4, they think, well, that's fair enough. But if you steal singles off their perfectly good deliveries, they get annoyed.
John Smuts is in again. This one is driven by Wokes down to long off, and they will take 2.
A run.
And a well run 2. Gets a
Quinton de
gets
Kock's
a
not
thigh
happy.
slap. A thigh slap of applause from
It's made by Denley,
the
running
jingling
the first
Manny.
one quick.
Yeah, it was, and you can see de Kock, who's captaining and keeping, not very happy.
No, he thinks the throw should have come to his end because Wokes was idling.
I think he thinks his fielder should have been more
He
alert.
was. The cameraman, meanwhile, is roving the ground in the way that the cameraman here often does, as that one is steered again to Pefler-Quayo, who's there at long off, and it'll be another single. So Wokes has, Denley rather, has added 3 to his score in this over. Wokes has added 3 and Denley's back onto strike. 1 for 22 for John Smuts. That one, well, I thought he dropped that a bit short, but Denley was sort of almost committed to the defensive shot there, wasn't he? And just let the ball come onto the bat, and there's no run. That run rate dropping further still. That one's flicked straight to mid-wicket though, no run. 157 for 6. That run rate now 4.4. And I suppose if you lose 6 quickish wickets, then that is going to damage your run rate. Forward comes Denley, driven away past the bowler down to long off. Pefler-Quayo on duty again, and another single for England. So 4 off this over, 1 ball left for John. Opening batsman and left arm spin bowler, and he's doing a nice job too. This partnership 27 but off 49, so that gives you a sense of the rebuilding work it's been doing. And this one's cut, uppishly cut, and my word, he's got away with it as Wokes, and it's going to go all the way past point for 4, but it was uppish indeed, top edged really.
Again, it's just an indication of just how difficult it is to play forcing shots on this wicket. The ball not really coming onto the bat at all, and I mean he could easily have holed out.
Have a look at the fielding here, Manny. To me, oh okay. I did feel.
You thought he was slow?
Oh, I thought he was a wee bit slow.
Yeah, that was my first impression. But to be fair, I think that even a quicker, more alert fielder wasn't going to quite get there. He just got enough bat on it, didn't he, to get it in front of him and away for 4.
And actually now, having seen a close-up there of the anguished look of John Smuts, if you were to stick a beard on him, I can see the bearish elements of his visage.
Do you think he swears like the bear? I hope so.
He probably did then. 162 for 6. Buren Hendricks continues. The bat is dropped upon it by Denley down to third man, and these two continue to rotate the strike tidily, but not exactly excitingly. But they're not being allowed to do it excitingly, frankly.
No, but I think that the England changing room will be fairly content with their progress. As I said a few minutes ago, I mean, just take this game as deep as this pair, take it as deep as he can.
That one's uppishly driven through cover and extra cover. He will get 4, but the man at cover flung himself and was not far away, but 4 runs it is.
Now my innings going, great guns, I hit the ball. 4 runs, I hit the
do think it's
How
just
close was he?
He was very close, but it's illustrative of this wicket that playing big shots, a lot of them will go in the air because the ball is so sticking in the surface, so it will give the fielding side a chance. But he got enough bat on it just.
Didn't quite get a fingertip to it. Good comeback though from Hendricks, who's coming around the wicket, and it's dabbed to mid-wicket by Chris Wokes. 5 off the over so far, pushes that England run rate over 4.5, and we are in the 37th, exactly halfway through the 37th over.
I mean, there are worse number 8s to come in ODIs than Chris Wokes.
The value of a good number 8. As around the wicket comes Hendricks. Oh, what? Good Lord. It looked like a slower ball, and it was going to be pulled by Wokes. He seemed to stop the shot halfway, top-edged it. It was up and over Quentin de Kock, but it fell well short of long leg. And it's an absolutely hideous, horrible shot from Wokes, but he has survived.
But I mean, look at the bounce of that ball. I mean, it's
cross-seamer, wasn't it?
It was a cross-seamer. It was a slower ball bouncer, but I mean, it's really stuck in the wicket and gone absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, it didn't come onto Wokes, did
no,
he? And
not at all. He had
no
to
clue.
wait and wait and wait for that.
But he's still there. He's on 22 off 22. And that one is driven past Hendricks, but straight to
and a no ball.
Mid-off and no run, no ball. It was too. Well spotted, Manny. We don't have free hits here, though, do we?
Sadly not.
England could do with that. Well, it was a marginal no ball,
but a good call.
A good call, yes. It wasn't quite a VAR offside decision by a nostril hair, was it? That one. It was clear enough to be a no ball, but not by much.
And a free hit.
Hendricks in again. And this one is slammed away over point, but there's a man running around from that deep cover boundary, and they will just get a single. In fact, in some ways, possibly hit... Oh, no, he did take 2. I beg your pardon, they did manage to take 2. I thought they'd only taken a single. I was going to say it was possibly hit too well. They did get 2 now. Are we looking at that too? Yeah, we are. It was... he'd stepped away to give himself room, hadn't he, Work? So he'd gone sort of couple of steps back towards his leg side and ended up really having to reach for it. Hendricks left arm around again, pushed to mid-on. Another single for Wokes. He moves on to 25, so he is keeping his runnable record going. He's 25 off 25. Joe Denley, who's playing the foundational role here of 35 off 61, 42 this partnership from 57, and 173 for 6 England.
Beijing Ducks calls me up and says it's laws, not rules. Yes, you're certainly right. Thank you very much for a slap wrist. Dr. Dan sends us a picture of Tabriz Shamsi, which we will retweet. It have been retweeted already. Linux here says that's quite some smuts, filthy smut from Smuts. Talking about
it is one of those names, isn't it?
The earful he would have given the fielder for the 2, I think.
Yes. Well, the one that was nearly but not quite.
And Durbanoki says Hendricks making himself the best left-arm bowler in the world. Mitchell Stark might have something to say about that.
Well, John Smuts will continue. This one is met with the full face of the bat, but it's straight out to Temba Bavuma, who diminutive figure is stationed there at cover. So there's no run. Another dot. South Africa continuing to keep this as tight as they can. Flicked off his legs. And that one, they will get a single. Or did they?
No, I don't think they did.
No, I think they did. They decided not to.
No. It would have been highly risky.
It would have been.
And they're building a partnership here, so I mean, just keep ticking it over. Still 12 overs after this.
They've increased in the last 5 overs as well, the speed of that partnership. As that one's flicked to mid-on. That time they do take a single, surely.
They're slowly working it up to run the ball now.
Yeah, so the run rate, the run rate is 4.6. The last 5 overs, England have moved up to 5.5, so they are getting there, as Jason said.
But it's the nature of cricket, isn't it? I mean, the longer a partnership goes, the easier batting becomes, and the quicker the rate of scoring should become. These two are proving that.
Smuts is in onto the back foot. Goes Denley, I think. No, it wasn't. It was Wokes, the taller of those two. And there's no run. No, it was Wokes. Yeah, no, it was Denley, because they got a single. I'm all over the shop. 36 for Denley, 26 off 28 for Wokes. Smuts 1 for 29. Like the work he's doing, Smuts down the track, a couple of steps down the track from Wokes, but Smuts, I think, saw him coming, dug it in a bit, and it was another dot ball pushed to mid-wicket. 175 for 6. Frankly, rusty-ish looking England here, I think. That one flicked through mid-wicket. Will net Stokes a single? They may come back for 2. I'd be surprised. No, they don't. And that concludes another highly probing and economical over by John Smuts. Just the 3 from it. 176 for 6 England.
We have another picture from Grits and Grats with a Bishop hoodie or Bishop t-shirt.
Oh, there seems to be a collection of Bishop. What have I got here? Oh, that is
Don't
my
bash
face.
the Bishop.
Don't bash the Bishop. I'm
with
rather worried about
Tony in a very nice mitre hat.
Oh, Lord. Yes. Well, there I am. Now, they would be quite good t-shirts. Maybe we should get the bear to have a word with his suppliers on a few of those.
Yes,
I'm sure they'd
educational as well as
members of my family would buy them. I'm not sure anyone else would. But 176 for 6 England.
I think England are right to be slightly more cautious against this. Well, I was going to say the spin bowling, the slow bowling of Smuts. He's not really turning it that much. I think it's easier. There are more opportunities to score off the seamers on a pitch like this. I think it's very difficult against a spinner if he's bowling a decent length and line, which Smuts has been doing. You can set your field in, and it is difficult to score. And I think that has been their approach in these few overs that they've been together. I think there may even be a change of bowling.
There is. It's going to be the 23-year-old from Durban, Andili Peflaqueo. And his first ball is steered down to third man for a single.
Would you like his jingle?
We'd love his jingle. Has a best bowling of 4 for 22 in ODIs, does Peflaqueo. I shall tell you in a moment, after this ball to Joe Denley, where and when he acquired that. That one is forward by Denley, pushed away to cover. There is no run. Yes, his 4 for 22. When did he make that? He got that in the same place. He got his highest score, actually, interestingly enough.
England 2017?
No, it was against Pakistan at Durban in 2019, so this year. He was man of the match because he also made 69 not out. In South Africa won it by 5 wickets.
A bit greedy, really, isn't it?
So, well, he means, well, a man in form. Full, though, driven along the ground to John Smuts, who's very much in the game there at mid-off, and prevents a run. They've been good and lively in the field too, haven't they, South Africa?
Yeah, despite putting up quite a bit of tonnage, this South African team. I mean,
it's a bit harsh.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't want to be in the back of the queue when it comes to tea with this team, would you?
No. I could see John Smuts and Paul Sterling jostling one another in the buffet queue, and that one is lofted quite magnificently over extra cover by Denley for 4 runs.
Played that nicely on width. I mean, yes, it was a slower ball, but it just gave him enough width to free his hands, and he does strike the ball nicely. You just think there's a better bat in Denley than he's proved to be thus far.
Well, yeah, the Bear was saying that he's tried to warm to him and support him, and losing patience in a way with him. Is this a repeat or is this the same treatment?
No, it's
another
shot.
It's the same treatment once again by Denley. This time was down on one knee. And again, it's over extra cover, and again, it's 4 runs. What a shot that was.
Yeah, it goes back to the point. I do think it's easier to attack the seamers than the spinners on this.
Bit of pace on the ball.
Bit of pace on the ball, and particularly if they offer you up just a wee bit of width. As Denley has both those 2 shots, just freed your arms.
He's going to be in once more from the Weinberg end. This one's worked off his legs to backward square by Denley, who is starting to motor now. He'll get himself a single. This partnership is now 55 off 69 balls. That concludes the over.
And like all good batsmen, he can count. We had 2 fours, a single off the last ball. Yeah, I fancy this. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't think if he's going to do that, then I don't think Chris Wokes will be complaining.
No, and 240, 250 begins to look as though it's possible if these 2 stay together.
Yeah, it's a little bit. What does he get his ODI wickets at? Pefler averages about 29. I think, to get his 65.
Yeah.
What's his economy?
What's his economy? What's his RPO?
His RPO, very good question. His economy rate is just under 5.5. It's about 5.5, 5.59.
Thank you.
John Smuts is in, and Denley, who, as we've just been discussing, managed to farm the strike, guides this to short backward point, and there's no run. We're in the 40th over. That means something must be happening commentary-wise fairly soon. Down the track with a big front foot is Denley, but he's only able to smack it to Pefler long off, and there's another single. 187 for 6.
Good partnership, this.
Very good.
And needed by England, it must be said.
Yeah, it's been very helpful that Wokes has scored almost a run of ball and allowed Denley to flourish.
In comes Smuts again from the Kelvin Grove end, and forward comes Wokes, guides this to Pefler, who's come a little bit shorter there at mid-off, but it doesn't prevent the single.
Without taking too many risks.
Yes, I mean, they've judged it, they've had a wee bit of luck, particularly Wokes, but they've judged it nicely, and batting becomes easier the longer you do it.
Smuts in again, waited for nicely by Denley. Again, smart running, very, very smart running. That was really just a touch into the offside, and his partner Chris Wokes was up his nose like a shot, so Wokes wasn't hanging around. England, I think, looking now towards this last 10 overs.
It is one of the more athletic and...
Well, it was also not a great piece of fielding.
No, it wasn't, but it was...
poor old Bavuma, who fumbled it a bit, didn't he? Smuts in again, pulled down. Wokes waits for it, stands tall, steers it to mid-on. Another single for England, 190 up, 190 for 6.
This does have a look of somebody bowling for like 10 overs, 1 for 42 at the moment.
Now, what's happening, chaps? And Knuckle is there with his laptop. So excellent. Okay, as forward comes Denley, steered to, I'm sure that will be Pefler, down to mid-off. It's the end of the over. 191 for 6 England. Denley on 48. Wokes on 30. We will have a change in the commentary box, and I will be seeing you after lunch.
Beijing Duck says, lovely to tune in again after forgetting cricket was on the cards today. Thanks again for being the voices of cricket. And Harry Hadida says, he's not as good as we want, talking about Pefler, so bye-bye. But he can bat, though.
Certainly can hit the ball a very, very long way. Of course, it was his slog into the leg side that of which Ben Stokes took the astonishing catch at the start of the World Cup. But Andile Pefler has bowled pretty well on a sluggish pitch, as have South Africa. And having put England into bat, they have England 191 for 6 going into the last 10 overs of this first of 3 one-day internationals. They are at the glorious Newlands in Cape Town. We are in slightly cloudy Sydenham. I am Knuckle M. Pandey, taking you through the last 10 overs on Ball by Ball Guerrilla Cricket's coverage of England's tour of South Africa 2019-20. Joe Denley is on 48 off 71 balls. Chris Wokes has come in and sped England up a little bit. He's on 30 off 33. as Luta Sapamla is back into the attack. Is back of a length and is worked around the corner by Joe Denley to Andile Pechluquayo. Denley will come back for 2, and that is his 50.
Way, okay, I was going to do something else first, but let's give him one of these.
50 runs, your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, your 50 runs. The job is only just begun.
A new bowler.
Except for greatness by a great man. Really fulfill.
Bowls from the Weinberg end, back of a length, and is nudged by Denley into the offside. There is no run. Joe Denley, 50 off 72 deliveries with 4 fours and no sixes. That's his third one-day international 50, and he and Chris Wokes have dragged England out of a bit of a hole. But on 62 for the 7th wicket.
Yeah, a bit slow down at 50 or 73.
Yeah, it's not been an easy pitch to score runs on. Chris
No.
Wokes and Jason Roy have been the only England batsmen who have looked even vaguely fluent. It's not been the best one-day international, one-day international pitch. Down the track comes Denley and lofts Sapamla over the leg side and just about clears Reza Hendricks running back from the edge of the circle at mid-wicket. Another occasion of a batter coming down the track and trying to loft a fast bowler back over their head, and the ball plugging. Denley picks up a slightly lucky 1, brings Wokes back onto strike. Came right off the splice of the bat, that from Denley, and it wasn't that far away from Reza Hendricks. But the single is taken. Luta Sapamla bowling the off-cutter on that occasion and defeating Denley. Well bowled.
Just seems to be sticking in the pitch a lot,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah,
A lot of off-pace balls, a lot of slower deliveries coming down.
Yeah, we've seen that through the entire innings pretty much since the first 3 overs, even when the very quick Ngidi was bowling. Sapamla, who's not too sure to pace himself, that one again bowls this into the pitch and it rather sticks in the wicket, and Wokes shovels it past mid-on down to long on. They take a single.
What did you sang in agreement? I think it was you. We know how to bowl when we go out, and the question is, are they smart enough to do?
Yeah, I think you look at Wokes, the Curran brothers, Jordan. Have all played a hell of a lot of shorter format cricket, so you'd think that they would utilise their skills.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
The Curran brothers and Jordan in particular use their slower balls a lot in white ball cricket. It's kind of their modus operandi. Wokes is more of a traditional kind of pitch it up and get a little bit of swing and seam bowler. Denley very quickly onto the back foot as Sapamla drops a little bit short, pulls out in front of square. Rusty van der Dussen comes round to field from deep square leg to mid wicket. They come through for 2. Good running by Denley and Wokes.
Who will open the bowling?
I would imagine Jordan and one of the current Jordan and Wokes probably actually.
You think Jordan and Wokes? They don't often open with
It
Jordan.
might be
that's
Sam
why.
Curran and
Yeah,
Wokes.
if they wanted to swing.
I would definitely be Wokes. Wokes is good with a new ball in white ball cricket as well.
Yeah, he's good at the death too.
Yeah.
Last ball of the over from Luta Sapamla, yet to take a wicket on one-day international debut. Is in again, slow ball into the pitch outside off stump, and Denley forces to Temba Bavuma at backward point, not someone whose arm you want to take on in a hurry. 6 runs off the over. England 197 for 6, 9 overs left.
Chris Paul pointing out his view. Denley is good at shepherding in the youth shorter form of the game. Seen him really hit the accelerator in the BBL after a defensive start. More comfortable with him as a short form batsman than Test.
It's interesting. He's barely been in the one international setup. He actually, as I said, he bowled himself out of the World Cup squad with one awful spell against Pakistan to be replaced by Liam Dawson. But he's got a white ball contract, but no Test central contract, despite the fact he's probably more of a regular in the Test arena. It's a curious career he's had.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, I remember him being picked very early on for the T20 when it was very youthful, and he was in that World Cup, wasn't he, in that squad that we won?
I'm not sure he was in that squad. I think he might have been in the one before that even. John Trevor Smuts is going to bowl out on one-day international debut, bowling from the Kelvin Grove end. Wokes comes down the track and for the third or fourth time skews this over cover. They do very well to come back for 2 actually, because that went pretty quickly down to long off, but good running by Wokes and Denley. Wokes moves to 33, England 199 for 6.
T20 debut was against Australia at Old Trafford. August the 30th, 2009.
England did host a World Cup, T20 World Cup in 2009. This is outside off stump and feathered by Chris Woakes past cover to the sweeper. They come through for a single. That is now a record partnership for the 7th wicket at Cape Town, beating a record set back in 1999.
And 200 up.
200 up indeed, 200 for 6 after 41.2 overs. It's been a good stand by these two. That's 100 to 150 to 200 by a little bit of a distance, the quickest 50-run block for England. Denley tries to slam this down the ground, but comes off the thick inside part of the bat down to long off, who does well to keep them to a single. Denley to 54.
So his T20 debut was he's played 3 games in 2009 and 2 games in 2010, and his next T20 for England was in 2018.
Yep. This is fired in flat by John Trevor Smuts, who has one of those names that you want to say in full every time. It's nudged out into the leg side. Good throw from the man at deep mid-wicket, but they do come through for 2. Good running again. Woakes to 37.
And he was
36.
He was in the ODI side for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 games in 2009.
Yep.
And then again didn't play until 2019.
Yeah, odd career.
Yeah.
He's trying to make the most of his belated second opportunity,
which he's doing quite well with.
Yeah, Joe, he's done all right. Denley is at the non-striker's end as Christopher Roger Woakes, playing his 100th one-day international, nudges this into the leg side. Will they come through for 2? No, they won't come through 4 to 3 fielders converge on it, and Lungi Ngidi sends the throw in from deep square leg. Denley on strike for the last ball of the over. Last ball of John Smuts' spell, which has been pretty useful for South Africa.
Again, taking pace off, isn't it?
Yep. As Smuts is in, holds this back a little bit on leg stump, and Denley works it round the corner to long leg, short fine leg rather. They come through for the single. What is that? For 8 runs off that over, but very good spell by Smuts on debut. 1 for 43 off his 10 overs. Has done a very good job for his team. South Africa have done well to restrict England, but England now 205 for 6 with 8 overs remaining.
I think it's a decent start that from JJ Smuts as a someone who would be widely referred to as a somewhat part-time bowler. Yeah. They got him involved in the innings early, which I think is quite a modern way now to get guys involved early, just to kind of allay those nerves.
And also on a pitch that was going to suit him more than say Joburg or Centurion might those sort of faster pitches.
I think something else we were saying in the green room about Joe Denley, I think we might have touched on it in the Joburg test as well, is obviously not being party to the conversations that he has with Joe Root and stuff. I think he's often unfairly referred to in his test match game, because his job he might be being told to go out and bat 100 balls and it doesn't matter how many you face.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of get that. And this is it. If he speeds up now and gets to a strike rate of 93, 94, he'd have done a job. But it just seems that Hendo pointed out, and you can't help but miss it now, that he often he hits the player rather than hits the space.
Sipamla in down the track comes Denley, and the camera operator has absolutely no idea where that has gone. I think it might have hit Sipamla actually and rebounded into the leg side, but the camera operator was for some reason looking at mid-off. Off the bottom part of the bat, it went to mid-wicket. No, the camera operator just lost it.
The camera operator went mid-on. I thought he skewed it down to mid-off. We shall have a look on a replay, but I think
it's come off the bottom part of the bat into the mid-wicket region, and they've come through for a single. Anyway, Denley's calling for a change of bat and has moved to 56 with that single, bringing Woakes back on strike.
Some good intent, though.
Yeah,
he's now looking to get down to the ball a little bit more.
So Palmer's certainly not. He's not Ngidi quick, but he's not a medium pacer. A slap pull shot by Chris Woakes into the leg side, has to pull it well in front of the square on this slowish pitch of under dozen fields on the deep mid-wicket boundary. They come through for a single.
Couple of tweets. Good morning to Brian Barish out there in Philadelphia. Any time he can come into work and listen to the Guerrilla Cricket commentary, even if it's a dreary Philadelphia morning, is a good morning.
Well, thank you very much.
Another one, love Knuckles' enthusiasm and upbeat tempo on the mic, like an injection of a thesaurus on speed. Every stroke player needs a boycott.
And Joe Denley has been hit amidships, I think. It was a slow ball into the pitch from Luta Sipamla. Very well bowled and deceived Joe Denley, who was through the stroke too early and has gone down in a heap. Even at maybe only 75 miles an hour, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, it's going to be black and blue in his nads, man. Let's have a look.
He is through the shot way too early. It's solar plexus. It's just winded him. Still painful. There is no run. Well bowled by Sapamla.
They don't often bounce off quite as easily as tennis balls, cricket balls.
No.
They seem to really stick in.
Sometimes they really bloody hurt. And other times you're going to hit and it just bounces off and it seems to be all right.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Sometimes it'd be better if it hits bone rather than muscle. Denley responds to that by camping on the back foot and trying to club Sapamla high over long on, but again it just sort of plugs in the outfield, and Buren Hendricks has a very easy stop down at long on. They come through for 2, and Denley is again motioning that his bat may not be fit for purpose.
Has the umpire stopped him from changing it?
I think they just haven't got the bat out to him yet.
Yeah, I think 260. I think we could creep up to 260 if these two can go most of the way in this last 10 overs.
Yeah, which
should
certainly
be a
on,
pretty competitive
on
score.
recent evidence from Cape Town, which is not the quickest pitch in South Africa by any means. That would be a defendable total. South Africa obviously had this sort of new look batting lineup. Remains to be seen how well they go.
We've got a tweet.
A twat.
A tweet. Admittedly, I can't remember the exact stat, but highest ODI chase on this ground 258, and teams batting second in day-nighters usually lose.
Yeah, it's certainly true. I've got that stat here, which I can give you after this delivery from Luto Sapamla. Denley backs away outside leg stump and flat bats Sapamla back over long off. That might be a smaximum and might have just hit the no. It's just bounced short of the rope. 4 runs hard and flat over long off for Joe Denley.
2 + 2 is a remember.
That was a good shot.
Yeah, he's done well there, Joe Denley. He made room for himself and manufactured a bad ball out of what really wasn't a bad ball. Mid-off is up, so it's a perfectly safe shot. Yeah, the highest successful chase here is 258 by South Africa versus New Zealand in November 2000, so it's been a very long time. Since the 2015 World Cup, every time there's been 6 in ODIs here. Come to that after this ball from Luta Sapamla, which will be a wide on height, slower ball into the pitch, which loops up and over Joe Denley. Wide signalled. Yeah, so they've been, on 3 occasions, the team batting first has scored over 300. They've won. On 3 occasions, the team batting first has scored under 250, and they've lost on all occasions. So I think that middle ground has yet to be tested.
The 300s had been on much better wickets than this one, you'd think.
I think a couple of them were A.B. de Villiers assisted, which is almost like having a cheat code. Short fine leg, backward point, extra cover, and mid-off up in the circle. And Sapamla trying to bowl to his field, bowls into the body of Joe Denley, who tries to flick this away fine, but Quinton de Kock does very well diving to his left to stop the ball racing away for 4, 6, 8, 9 runs off that over. England 214 for 6.
A couple of the lads tuning in on Crick Tracker, MD Pias and Pragnesh Joshi, both predicting a South Africa victory today.
Ooh. It's going to be interesting if England do get sort of that 250 mark. Let's say 6 and over for 275 is on.
I've just gone under 268 and a half. I think if a wicket falls, it'll all slow down a bit more.
Tommy Curran likes to
he
wield
does.
the willow, doesn't he?
So does Chris Jordan.
It's 50 odd runs still off 7 overs, isn't it?
Oh, if you go 6 and over for the last 7 overs,
that's 42 runs.
Yeah,
it only gets you to 256, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of acceleration maybe, but England will be aiming, I think, for 250 and then see what they can get from there. Who's got overs left? Smuts bowling 10 overs has given South Africa a lot of options. Yeah, and Gidi's got 5 overs left. Hendricks has got 4 overs left. Shamsi's still got 2 overs left. So Pelakwaya's got 2 left, and Sapamla's got 4 left. So very handy when your sort of part-time bowler is able to bowl 10 overs, as New Zealand found with Cullen de Grandom in the World Cup final.
Yep.
As Manny was alluding to earlier. And it is the left-arm wrist spinner coming on from the Kelvin Groven, replacing Smuts, who's bowled out. He starts with one that doesn't really turn and rather foxes Chris Wokes, who eventually pushes this up too long off. They come through for a single off the bowling of.
Shameless.
held back a little bit by Shamsi. It doesn't really bounce, and Joe Denley was trying to smash that over the leg side, but just has to turn it round the corner to Sipamla at long leg. They come through for a single. Shamsi's bowled beautifully today.
It's a lot more dangerous to me, though, when he's actually giving it a bit of flight. There, he's dragging it down into the wicket a little bit. I know with his action it's tough anyway, as we know for all wrist spinners, but
there's an element of bowling to the field there, though, because they had I think he'd almost rather bowl at Wokes, as he thinks he's more likely to get him out, because Wokes is trying to be a bit more attacking. That's on the pads of Chris Wokes, who turns this into the leg side. Rusty van der Dussen does well coming in from the mid-wicket boundary to keep them to 1. Also, I think when you're bowling in the death overs, going for a single is not a bad thing for
no,
a
exactly. If you can bowl it flat into the pads, you can probably get away with a single. What you don't want to do is give it too much flight and get slapped back straight.
In a ball with a wicket where it's stopping, I just wonder if the batsman stops it short. If you're trying to still get wickets,
you have to mix it up a bit, don't you? You can't be predictable as a bowler at any stage of a one-day international innings. Oh, that's a beautiful delivery by Shamsi. That was fired through flatter, but it skidded off that wicket, and good take by Quinton de Kock, whipping the bails off. Denley with his attempted slug sweep missed it, but managed to keep the back foot grounded. There is no run. Shamsi he sometimes bowls his stock ball slightly out the side of the hand, which produces a little bit of extra uncertainty because you can't tell which way the ball's going to turn from the seam.
Well, a lot of the time the seam seems to be wobbling all over the place.
Short third man, short fine leg, straightest mid-wicket and straightest extra cover up in the circle. Flat batted by Denley, hard into the stumps and knocks the leg stump out at the non-striker's end. Well fielded by that stump and has saved 4 runs. There is no run.
Medical inquiry coming in from Chris Paul. If you get hit in the bollocks with the ball, do they use the magic spray to numb it up?
Wow.
Certainly in my experience, not. You're left crawling around on all fours for 5 minutes and then you kind of get ready again.
We all know how that feels. Everyone has a wry smile on their face normally.
Last ball of Shamsi's 9th over, the 44th of the innings. He's in. Denley walks across outside his stump, outside off stump, and powers this away. It was a little bit of a half volley from Shamsi, but he's powered that away nicely. Joe Denley through the gap at mid-wicket for 4. That makes that over into a decent one for England. They are 221 for 6.
The worst thing is when you can hear everybody else, especially all the blokes in the ground, giggling.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're on your haunches, trying to get some air into your system, and you just hear all your mates giving it a quick giggle on the sideline.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, it's one of those things.
Yeah. This, by the way, is Joe Denley's first one-day international 50 for over 10 years. Oh, his last was on the 20th of September 2009.
The 10-year hiatus
against Australia at Chesterley Street. So Pamela is going to continue from the Weinberg end. Bowls a good Yorker into that's a little bit harsh, actually. I thought that he'd got the Yorker in between pad and stumps, but no, he's just got it slightly too leg side, and the umpire signals a wide. A little bit harsh, perhaps.
He's gone for 6 and over.
Yeah, is on one-day international debuts, played a few T20s, and the great man who Mogg refers to as having tipped Lucas Apamla for big things was none other than Abraham Benjamin de Villiers. So praise doesn't come much higher. Sipamla in first legitimate ball of the over, and he's got his first one-day international wicket. Stopped in the wicket again. Chris Wokes tried to drive him over mid-off, but didn't get the elevation. Catch comfortably taken by, I think, John Smuts at mid-off. Sipamla is delighted. His family up in the stands are delighted. Wokes goes for a sprightly 40 or 42. England 2-2-2 for 7.
I won't look back. Just by the time that I do, you'll be gone.
No, it was David Miller with his bucket hands at mid-off. Was never going to miss that. Good innings, though, by Wokes, and has helped England get back into this contest.
Doesn't drop many, old David Miller, does he? Still one of the best fielders in world cricket.
Outstanding fielder.
Beijing Ducks. England will comfortably bowl out South Africa for less than 180, with Jordan taking a hatful.
It's interesting. Chris Jordan is his first one-day international in over 3 years. Bowled brilliantly in the T20s.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit unlucky to get in the World Cup squad. But
to not get in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, England had a lot of bowlers that they couldn't.
Yeah, they did.
Obviously, Archer forced the issue somewhat.
But just before the World Cup, he made a good case for it, didn't he? In a series that's just was it against
Pakistan. He and Jordan were the two who they were kind of looking at, but Tom Curran got the gig as the extra seamer in that World Cup. Didn't play.
Gits and grats. I've always thought when you got hit in the bollocks, you had an umpire come out with a box of balls that closely matched the age and experience of the ones being replaced.
Tweet to the tour. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Did Tom Curran, therefore, he must have got a medal, didn't he?
I think he did.
Yeah, part of the squad.
Yeah, he was on the field at various times during that World Cup, but he didn't play. And now, speaking of the man, here he is.
Nope.
The most effectual top cat, whose intellectual close friends get to call him TC.
That's the slightly misleading one-day international average of 44.5. I think the strike rate over a run of ball is probably the more telling stat, but he can hit the ball, Tom Curran.
He had a pretty good big bash, didn't he? Well, he started off okay and maybe faded.
It was a little bit all over the place, but
I didn't take any
had
notice of it.
some good, some bad. He's got himself an IPL contract this year. Slower ball by Sapamla, tucking up Tom Curran, and it rolls off his pad into the onside. There is no run.
I always think he's quite an intelligent.
Yeah, both the Curran boys.
Yeah, as a cricketing intelligence. He maybe not be the smartest tool in a box in the real world. I don't know. I haven't a clue. But
Nope, never done a pub quiz with him, so I couldn't tell you.
The family are happy there with that first wicket.
That's a lovely moment, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Luta Sapamla from Port Elizabeth, as his entire family have made the trip to the Western Cape from Eastern. This is full on off stump from Luta Sapamla. Curran turns this into the onside, but it's fielded by the man at short mid wicket. There is no run. This has been very good from Luta Sapamla in this over after the wide.
The getting hit in the box tweets are rolling in. The Beijing Ducks CC, take away the pain but leave the swelling. That was David Lloyd when he found himself in all sorts of knots when facing up to Thompson, wasn't it? One of the worst things I've ever witnessed, I think, in cricket.
He's been dining out on that story for years.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got backward point, cover, mid-off and mid-wicket. Quite short mid-wicket up in the circles. We've got a deep third man, deep point, long off, long on, deep mid-wicket, and I think a long leg in place. That's full and driven beautifully by Tom Curran, slightly overpitched by Luta Sapamla. The long one is quite straight, so Reza Hendricks is that man and is able to come round and keep them to 2, but Tom Curran off the mark with a lovely shot.
Don't rub it's always the worst one. Whenever you get hit, there'll always be someone, won't there?
Don't rub it.
A bowler. Or don't rub it. Shows you're hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it does fucking
It
hurt.
hurts. I'm in serious pain. I can't breathe.
Yeah. Brian Close once said that it's only on you for a second, so how can it hurt? Which actually completely misunderstands how that works. Sapamla in full outside off stump, another slower ball, and Curran strokes this out very nicely to Lungingidi on the cover boundary. They come through for a single. Someone did some research, and if the ball's like a tennis ball that's soft, will compress and it'll be on you for longer, so actually the impact will be lessened. A hard cricket ball bounces off you, it's on you for a fraction of a second, but actually the fact that you've got all that force
keeps going
in a very short space of time. Yeah, unsurprisingly, Brian Close again, probably not the smartest, not helped by repeated blows on their head. Fine cricketer though he was.
Yorkshireman, was he?
He was. Last ball of Sapamla's 7th over, the 45th of the innings, is turned by Joe Denley from outside off stump to leg. Ratty van der Dussen comes round to field. They come through for one. Good over by Sapamla. Just the 5 runs off England in the wide and a first one-day international wicket. 5 overs to go. England 226 for 7.
He was a Yorkshireman, was he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was, yes.
Being a Lancastrian myself, I won't say anything about the brains of the Yorkshireman then. especially sitting next to one as
it's an old I think it was a Two Ronnies sketch. The sounds of summer. It was something like freshly mown grass, the leaves on the trees, the sound of leather on Brian Close. Shamsi is going to bowl out from the Kelvin Grove end. 3 for 33 he's taken off his 9 overs. He's bowled excellently. He's shown good control over both his googly and his orthodox delivery. He's in to Joe Denley. Tosses this up way outside off stump, trying to tempt Denley to have a flash at it and maybe hole out to cover. But no, he gets it straight to that man, down to Temba Bavuma at long off. They come through for a single. Curran onto strike, facing Shamsi for the first time.
His last over, 3 for 34, is pretty good bowling in an ODI.
He's bowled excellently, I think. Obviously, he's got a long way to go, as we were saying, to do what Imran Tahir did for South Africa for so many years in one-day internationals, but he's started his sort of elevation very well. This is wide outside off stump, and Curran did well actually to open the face and get it wide of the man at extra cover. I don't think it was as close to cover as we all thought it might have been on the original angle. Takes a single out to the cover sweeper.
He's had a few chances, hasn't he? Shamsi, he's been out the side for a couple of years.
Yeah, well, he's been playing with Tahir a lot in the last few years, but now he is the premier white ball spinner for South Africa. He's in, it's on the stumps and nicely swept with a lot of wrist work by Joe Denley to get it backward to square. Lutus Apamla misfields slightly at backward point and then hurtles a throw in, which nearly knocks Quinton de Kock off his feet. They come through for a single.
Thinking of South African wrist spinners, left arm wrist spinners, it's nice to. I saw Paul Adams while I was out there for the test.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice to see that he's untangled himself from the knots that he.
A pretty good bowler, Paul Adams. Chris Adams was not
Chris
a good
Adams
bowler.
not so much.
Googly, I think, from Tabraiz Shams. He doesn't really turn. It's pushed by Tom Curran out into the offside. There is no run.
Yeah, he's played how many? 18 ODIs in the space of 4 years.
Yeah, he's been the apprentice rather to the excellent Imran Tahir. Tossed up from Shamsi and ends up as a Yorker and is jabbed out backward a square to Rossi van der Dussen, and they come through for 1. Joe Denley and Tom Curran unable to deal in anything other than singles. Seeing on screen that the average first innings score in day-night one-day internationals at Newlands is 249. I suspect it's probably a little higher than that in the last few years, but not a fast scoring ground by any means. Last ball of Tabraiz Shamsi's excellent spell. He's in to Tom Curran, who comes down the track and has to adjust his stroke as Shamsi does well, sees him coming, fires it down the leg side. Curran has to dig this out into the onside rather. Shamsi does well to field off his own bowling. A dot ball to finish 5 runs off his last over. Excellent from Tabraiz Shamsi. 3 for 38 off his 10 overs, and has done more than any other South African bowler to keep them somewhat on top.
Yeah, he's bowled well. Bowled Tammy Curran around his legs. Never get bowling around your legs.
It's a gift.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, that drift that Manny and I were talking about sort of took it outside the eye line of Sam Curran, and he misread it as a result. England 231 for 7, 4 overs left.
Yeah, but your legs should be in line with that. That's how you don't get bowled around your legs. Open yourself out a bit.
Yeah.
And then if it hits the pad, it's pitched outside leg, you're not going to be out OBW. But
yeah, we're seeing his excellent control of length we're seeing on screen there, yeah.
The last tweet's come in. Is it true the NHS offers new balls on your 80th birthday?
Wow, that'd be nice.
Nice new brand spanking shiny ones.
You need a new ticker by then as well. If you want to use them properly.
Make best use of, yeah.
So we do have a change at the Weinberg end. Big fast bowler replaces big fast bowler. In fact, bigger faster bowler replaces big fast bowler, and starts with one that's back of a length and clubbed by Joe Denley down to long on for a single.
This man.
Domination is the name of the game. In cricket or life, they're both just the same. So go get the guy who can turn the day. Let's play Lungi and Edie. Let's play Lungi and Edie.
Wicketless so far, full outside off stump, and is driven on the bounce by Tom Curran. Back to the bowler. Ngidi does well to sort of parry in his follow through to cover. There is no run. Perhaps not a pitch that suits his strengths, Lungi Ngidi, which are getting disconcerting bounce from a length at good pace, but he's done a job.
I mean, he's known for getting it up there above 90 clicks at times.
Yeah.
You know,
Ngidi's proper quick, and now hopefully fully fit.
Yeah. Bad hamstring injury, you were saying.
Yeah. He's had hamstring issues for the last year or so.
So yeah, I mean, he came to the World Cup, didn't he? And
he was half fit.
He was half fit.
He missed the entire IPL with a hamstring injury, or most of it certainly, having been brilliant for CSK the year before. Slow ball from Ngidi foxes Tom Curran. It comes off the inside part of the bat. They take a single. Good work from Andile Pakhlaquayo coming around from mid-wicket. Temba Bavuma, in fact, Pakhlaquayo's at backward point. They come through for a single.
Why isn't Rabada? I think
Rabada's been rested from this series.
Oh, has he been rested for the entire series? Okay.
He has. Good off cutter from Lungi Ngidi. Actually, in the first World Cup group game, we saw Ngidi and Rabada bowl a lot of cutters on a slightly two-paced oval pitch, and our friends at Cricket South Africa were saying that that's by a distance, the most cutters they've seen Ngidi bowl, rather than his usual sort of hard-length, full-pace, splice-bothering stuff. Denley comes down the track and tries to launch Ngidi over the leg side. Where has that gone? That's gone onto the grass bank. It's been caught in an esky, the first 6 of the innings.
Well done.
That was an authoritative club over mid-wicket by Joe Denley. Came down the track to Ngidi with a full swing of the bat, sent it flying onto the grass bank at mid-wicket.
Oh, right out of the middle.
Yeah, lovely shot by Joe Denley. No attempt to keep it down. And Lungi Ngidi will have to go back to the drawing board. Picked the slower ball on that occasion, did Joe Denley.
I think the boys will be looking minimum 270 here.
That's outside off stump, another slow ball into the pitch. Denley too early on that occasion. It was a bit wider, and Denley chops it horribly off the bottom part of the bat back to the bowler. There is no run.
As long as I don't get over 267, I'll be happy.
Right. 266 it is.
267.
267 is
you have to
alright.
get a half run on the
Okay,
bookies,
fine.
so 267's good. And what, with 3 overs and 1 ball, 18, 19 balls, 30, 28 runs.
I think that Denley and Woke's contribution now is huge.
Yes. Woke's batted really well, you know.
He did. Scored much faster. I think only Roy scored a run a ball, but Wokes was the only one who got close to that over any period of time on what's not been an easy pitch to bowl on. Good slower ball by Lungi Ngidi. He's bowled quite a few of those in. He's bowled almost exclusively those in this over, but that was well bowled. Denley came down the track and missed it completely. Good comeback after being hit for 6. 8 runs off the over, and after 47 overs, England are 239 for 7.
He enjoyed that one, Denley, didn't he? Holding the pose.
Yeah, it was lovely.
There he goes.
What have we got on the social medias on Crick Tracker and on Twitter?
Crick Tracker, Rizwan Rizzi saying hello. Hi to you, Rizwan.
Hello.
Hello.
And yeah, it's gone quite quiet on the Crick Tracker, and then the Twitter's gone quiet as well. Let me just refresh.
Another tab. We've got some comments on YouTube.
We should say hello to Syed, actually. It's
Yeah,
his
we
birthday
did.
today.
We shouted him out.
Yeah,
Happy birthday, Syed. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you are in the world and whatever you're
We're
doing.
still waiting for you to come into London.
We have a change at the Kelvin Grove. And first time it's not been spin for a while because Shamsi's now bowled out, as has Smuts. So a left arm seamer comes back into the attack. Round the wicket to the right-handed Tom Curran, slow ball bouncer. You know what? I'll tell you when it's not a slow ball into the pitch. Curran very early in it and slaps it out to Van der Dussen at deep cover for a single.
They hurt and they ache. Dale Steyn hurt his shoulder, so they're short a bowler. Hendricks and Hendricks. Hendricks is in.
Yet to take a wicket in this game. He and Ngidi, the opening bowlers, probably the two quickest bowlers. Maybe even Sipamla's probably a bit quicker than Bjorn Hendricks actually have wicketless today, which may give us a clue as to how the second innings is going to go. He bowls full outside off stump, and Curran slips as he tries to. Sorry, Denley slips as he tries to back away and club it through cover. Comes off the toe end of the bat. Van der Dussen again having to field on the cover boundary. They come through for a single. Singles have been coming, but bar that 6 from Joe Denley, it's been pretty much only singles.
Yeah. Which will suit South Africa fine, but I still think that'll be a reasonable defense.
Yeah, could be an interesting game. Oh, and Bjorn Hendricks so close to getting a first wicket today, and so close to running out Joe Denley Tom Curran rather at the non-striker's end. It was a slow ball into the pitch, which Curran tried to turn into the leg side. It looped up off a leading edge, went nowhere really. Bjorn Hendricks couldn't reach the ball, and they came through for the single. Bjorn Hendricks picked up very well one-handed and threw, and Curran would have been gone by about half the pitch if Hendricks had hit.
Yeah, a little bit more time. Not much, more time, I suppose. But if he'd have settled himself, he'd
couldn't do what Van der Dussen managed to do. Curran gets a rather streaky single. Could have been out twice in one ball. Was out no times in one ball. He's on 9. Denley on strike on 78. Hendricks continuing round the wicket. Oh, ball's a full toss, which Denley has slapped straight to cover. That's been dropped by John Trevor Smuts. Possibly it's a no ball on height.
No.
Oh no! Maybe it just. I'm not sure if that actually carried to Smuts. Nobody's really reacting much in the covers. It was a juicy full toss outside off stump. It's not a no ball. It's about waist height. Denley leaning back has clubbed it. Oh, that's a sitter for Smuts. Straight in, straight out, through the arms, through the legs, and Joe Denley's been dropped on 78. Poor from Smuts, really.
Probably won't. Well, it won't end up costing him too much, but
Still, lovely slow ball by Buren Hendricks, which Joe Denley's about a week early on. His timing is completely gone after hitting that 6 through the shot way too early. Took a bottom hand off the bat and it loops over the stumps through to the keeper. There is no run.
I think as a batsman,
lovely back of the hand slow ball by
that was
Hendricks.
good. Yeah, it was. I think as a batsman here, you've got to assume rather that every ball is going to be slow, and therefore set yourself for a slower ball, and if it comes through quicker, hope for the best.
Yeah, I think that's. There's been a little bit of a lack of adaptation to what South Africa have been trying to do. That's another full toss outside off stump. Denley gets some bat on it again, but again only gets part of a decent contact on it, out to Van der Dussen on the covered boundary. So a slightly odd over from Buren Hendricks. Only goes for 4, which South Africa will not mind at all. 2 overs left, England 243 for 7.
Damien Sinister comes to us on YouTube. This is probably more relevant during the test matches, but apparently a computer nerd software engineer created an algorithm to find out which English test batsman, according to pitch conditions, quality of bowler, etc., came out with the highest test average. And apparently it was none other than Geoffrey Boycott with a shade just under 70.
There's a lot of different factors that you can put into those algorithms. They're quite interesting when you try and actually assess pitch quality and opposition bowler quality. And Gidi, again, Denley so early on the slower ball. He's just not adapted to the pace of the pitch and the bowling of the South African seamers at the death. Threw his pull shot too early and almost drags on to his stumps. I mean, it's been good from South Africa, but I think Denley, either set yourself for the slow ball or just get bat on it and get off strike. And we've seen a lot of different slow balls. We've seen two different types of cutter from Ngidi. We've seen the back of the hand slow ball from Buren Hendricks.
I think although you'd say that our attack doesn't play as much as some of the others.
Short fine leg, cover, extra cover and mid off up in the circle, which means that everyone in front of square on the leg side is back, and it's too long on that this goes. Denley does get off strike with a club rather down to that man at long on. He moves to 80, brings Tom Curran back onto strike.
I'd say that, with the likes of Jordan, the Curran boys, because they've grown up having to, deal in slower balls, since they've been playing the game, I'm confident now of an England, proper bowling performance on this.
Jordan's played a lot of cricket around T20 cricket around the world. He's England's best T20 bowler these days, and certainly as a seam bowler. And I think he'll be well suited to bowling on this pitch. Maybe that's why they selected the Curran brothers and Jordan on this potentially slightly slower pitch. Full of slow ball this time, and Gidi has a potential chance to run out Curran at the non-striker's end, but he couldn't get to the ball quickly enough. They come through for a single, well scampered. But it has been, apart from that 6, a steady diet of singles.
Mike Taylor comes to us. Good morning from Martinique. Tough life.
That's tough, yeah.
Just a quick question. What's happened to Alex Hales? Is he permanently persona non grata now?
It does seem that way.
I think there was obviously the interview done with Morgan where he talks about the complete breakdown in trust with Ian Ward a couple of days ago on Sky Sports, and I think that there's an open door, but it's going to take a lot of walking back through.
Morgan's eyes when he talks about Alex Hales. It's pretty scary. And Gidi, that is a full-pace delivery which Denley clubs into the onside, and Dile Pechlakwayo fields about 5 yards in off the mid-wicket fence. Again, it's only a single. Joe Denley. Joe, he's done all right, but always hits the field Denley.
Yeah, exactly. I do think that was dealt with badly, though, by the ECB. I mean, he knew. I mean, Owen Morgan knew about it. No, actually, Owen Morgan didn't know about it, did he? He was kept in the dark.
No, that was the problem. Alex Hales didn't tell the team before it went public.
Yes,
he went to play golf, didn't he?
No.
That was in Bristol.
That was a Bristol thing. But that was the decision of the fucking ECB and Ashley Giles.
Slow ball by Ngidi. Curran tried to slam this over long on, comes off the outside part of the bat and skews out through third man. Third man is back to Bresh Shamsi, so they come through for a single. I don't think there's been a single shot time since Denley hit that 6 off Lungi Ngidi a few overs ago.
And that was the problem with all that, I think.
It's true. Ashley Giles didn't help himself by saying that he only made the decision once it went public.
Exactly. I mean, that was just poor. And Morgan should have been kept in the loop, but then you can't blame Hales. Hales was probably told what to do. Well, you can't blame Hales.
Oh, what a shot that is from Joe Denley. He's finally picked a slower ball, and Ngidi may be going to that particular well once too often. Denley went deep in the crease and slammed it flat batted, high back over Nguidi's head for 6. Nguidi ends with none for 42 off his 7, so with that big 6 back over the bowler's head, 10 runs off the over. England 253 for 7, 1 over left. Who will bowl it, I wonder?
I think the other thing with Hales is how many chances can you give someone? You know, he's obviously an incredible talent. You know, there's not many guys in world cricket who hit the ball like he does. You just look at his...
But, I mean, I got really upset in the World Cup. There was that period where we brought in bloody James Vince when we lost those 3 games. And Hales was a ready-made replacement. Should have been in the squad.
Was that when Jason Roy got injured?
Yeah. And instead we had James Vince, who was doing a James Vince-like thing.
Buren Hendricks is bowling last over. It's full outside off stump and driven by Tom Curran straight to John Smuts at cover. Surely they came through for a single there. Yeah, they did. Yeah. Curran to 12, Denley to 87, potentially a first ODI 100 if he can get a move on.
Well, he can get 13 runs. That's cool. That's 267. I'm good.
Yeah, I just think, you know, he's had a number of chances. Obviously, there was the Bristol incident. There's obviously now this
where he went to play, where he pissed off the team by going and playing golf rather than telling the team what had happened, which is not a good look. Slow ball. Denley's put this high into the air. The camera operator has no idea where that has gone, but it's been caught, presumably at long on. Reza Hendricks taking the catch. Hendricks, the Hendrickses combining. Good slow ball by Buren Hendricks. Joe Denley tried to. I'm not quite sure where he was trying to hit that, truly. He lost his shape, was very early on it. Skied it off Buren to Reza, and it goes for the Aussie Devil number 87. Reza Hendricks wasn't too far from the rope at long on, but he judged it well, made sure that he didn't backpedal over the rope. An important innings from Joe Denley at 87 off 103 balls. Struggled for fluency at various points during the innings, 6 fours and 2 sixes, but he's got England up to what should be a vaguely competitive total, and it could get more competitive if the last footballs of clubbing comes off and one of the clubbers comes out to bat.
Yeah. No, I mean, going back to that, he's had 2 chances, okay, and the first one was tonight.
Well, that is the second drugs. That is the second time he's had a drugs ban. He's had a.
And let's not forget, you remember the West Indies when the England wives and girlfriends had to inform his then girlfriend of what he'd been getting up to before she got there. And
that is all public domain, by the way. We're not spilling anything.
No, absolutely, yeah. And then he left the tour for personal reasons.
Well, the new clubber won't be on strike because the old one is, because that ball went many miles up in the air. It's slower into the body of Tom Curran, who tries to sort of pull this very fine. Quinton de Kock gets half a hand on it and deflects it to long leg. They come through for a single. We're seeing that off cutter from Buren Hendricks, which saw the end of Joe Denley. He's got a couple of slower balls in his locker, Buren Hendricks, and bowls them very well. Anyway, that brings a new batsman onto strike.
Oh yeah. It does. It's going to be
Chris Jordan's back will make.
Jordan clears the front leg and slams this to David Miller at mid-wicket. You wouldn't take on his arm in normal circumstances, but you sort of have to in the last over of a one-day international. They come through for a single. Miller missed with the shy at the stumps. Wonder how much he missed by. Let's have a look. Miller picked it up fairly cleanly and threw one stump away. Matt Jordan would have been gone. Miller wasn't too far away, I tell you. Maybe Hendricks should have got back to the stumps there. Anyway,
awkward height as well.
2 balls left of the England innings. Buren Hendricks bowling to Tom Curran. Tom Curran has left that thinking it's going to be a wide, but he's misjudged that. It was a very good slow ball bouncer, passed through about throat height or maybe shoulder height. One bounce through to Quinton de Kock. There is no run. Tom Curran's made an error of judgment there. Dot ball off the penultimate ball of the innings. Gold dust.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, it's only helmet high, it seems, anyway.
Yeah, thought it was going to bounce more. Didn't. Have a swing, mate.
Might as well have a swing anyway, exactly. It's either going to get given or not.
Last ball of the innings is bowled by Buren Hendricks. It's a good full ball, goes for the full pace Yorker this time. And a terrible throw from Andile Pekla-Kwao at point means they come through for an extra run. And then Luta Supamla slips at mid-wicket, and they almost come through for... Tried to potentially come through for 3, but no, they settle for 2. It was hit out by Tom Curran to backward point. It was an awful throw by Pechler-Quayo, which might have had Jordan scrambling at the non-striker's end had it been the striker's end rather, had it been a better throw. But England scrambled 2 off the last ball of the innings, and then 258 for 8, which is competitive just about.
One thinks so, yeah. I mean,
probably.
We left a lot of runs out there, gave some wickets away, but it's not an easy wicket to bat on. England have got a pretty reasonable bowling attack. With some wily seamers who can do a lot of off-cutters the same as them.
Interesting to see how Matt Parkinson on ODI debut goes. Bowled very well in some of the warm-ups. Took 3 wickets and over in the second one of those warm-ups.
You got Denley, Root bowled.
I think Root might bowl well on this pitch.
Yeah, because he obviously he varies his pace and bowls quite flat at times. A couple of last tweets. Day nights at Newlands. Teams batting second have won only 8 games out of 42. And Durban Oak says the Norcross theory is that every team should have an arsehole. Hales is that arsehole. So,
well, yeah,
he very much divides opinion, doesn't he? I think there's no question as to his talent, but for whatever reason he keeps seemingly getting himself into scrapes.
Yeah, I mean, I have well, I mean, when it comes to recreational drug use, I know it's professional sport and all that shit, but at the time it was over Christmas as far as I was aware. He's 29, there's plenty of people in the rest of the general populace who do it.
He wasn't, it's a misnomer that he was banned for drugs. He was banned for basically not being honest with his team, essentially, and losing the trust.
But the initial ban was for drug use.
But the reason he was stopped, he was not considered for selection by England.
Yes, but that all came out. The initial thing was that he was done for drug use, and then, as far as I remember it, Ashley Giles and the ECB decided they made an agreement with Worcestershire where he wouldn't play for a certain amount to Nottinghamshire, that he wouldn't play. Well, he would serve out his ban, and no one would know the better, and then he would come back.
That's in the ECB regulations. Say the second drugs ban doesn't get made, doesn't go beyond the ECB and the county.
Well, there you go. And then it was made public by a paper, and then the position was changed. And I think that was selling out the player as much as anything else.
Possibly, but then, no matter what my personal opinion is on recreational drugs, I think as an international sportsman, I think that, if you're going to get randomly tested.
Well, you see, yeah, I mean, I kind of see that, but I just think it's double standards in the modern world where, your average banker and any other twat can go out and do the same thing on a Friday night, and they're not going to get sacked. Well, they might get sacked in a job.
Sometimes you get caught.
Yeah, sometimes you get caught. Exactly, but it's recreational drug use. It's not performance enhancing, and it's a personal failure rather than a sporting failure.
But I think the fact that whatever it may have happened to be, if it's illegal and you are seen as in a position of great responsibility in terms of this England team,
but that's my point. When it comes to personal responsibility, when half the rest of the population is doing it, it seems a bit of rank hypocrisy.
If
we were a really clean living, God-fearing community, which we clearly aren't in this country, then it's pot and kettles and black and whatever.
It's about wanting to inspire kids as well as much as anything, though. It's not. You don't want to send. You want to send the right messages rather than the wrong.
Yeah,
well, I'm not sure the 6-year-old.
Alex Hales was walking a tightrope before that, and he fell off it and lost the trust of his team. And I think
I don't think moral messages play a part. Jesus Christ, moral messages in sport, they cheat the whole time. They're always trying to get one over on each other. Da-di-da-di-da. In every aspect of the game, and then what they do in their personal life, that's bollocks to me. Anyway, everyone knows my point of view.
You wonder what would have happened to the 3 Australians if they'd have been caught doing that rather than just rubbing a cricket ball with some sandpaper. I mean, they got banned for a year for doing that. They'd have been.
Well, I mean, that's a whole other kettle of worms, which we've kettle of worms thing. Kettle of fish, can of worms, the thing. Anyway, it's something we've dealt.
They're actually cheating in a game. I think that's more serious. I mean, it's hilarious that they got banned for that length of time because it was totally unnecessary, and loads of other people have been banned for one game for doing pretty much the same thing.
The ICC ban was 2 games.
Well, there you go. So, but Australia decided to go completely overboard, and which was hilarious, But anyway, that's the way it goes.
Anyway, we'll wrap up with your final social media comments and then play some old podcasts.
Yeah.
Nothing come through on Twitter actually since Durban Oak, and as far as I can see, nothing really from YouTube at the minute. Everyone seems to have gone a bit quiet. Maybe they've gone for lunch, which is I think exactly what we're about to do now.
Indeed. So we're going to give you Duncan Hamilton again, funnily enough. We'll see you after lunch in about, how long do they have to speak? 20 minutes, isn't it? No, it's about 40 minutes.
The lunch break is about 45 minutes. We'll probably see you, and we'll see you when we see you.
Yeah, okay. See you in a bit. Bye.